medical industry, our amazing students, experienced doctors, experienced personalities. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time and marking this day. Your presence truly mean a lot to us. Our honorable guests have arrived and we would be starting with this session in a while. Well, this day is definitely very, very informative and productive for all of us. Illness to Wellness Awareness Summit on Mental Health and Wellness. Raising issues, raising standards, I definitely believe this is definitely the need of the hour. And today, we are delighted to have our honorable chief guest amongst us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll please request all of you to rise up at your seats and welcome our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Odisha, Srimati Pravati Parida ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. It absolutely means a lot to us finding you here this morning. Mr. Manoj Ahuja ji, IAS Chief Secretary to the Government of Odisha, and other important members and dignitaries. Well, Illness to Wellness ITW campaign began in the year 2014 in collaboration with ASSOCHAM, and it is the core wherein the unwavering focus is on empowerment, education, partnerships, and creating a sustainable impact on the health for people, which covers a wide range of topics such as nutrition, mental health, managing chronic diseases, and new healthcare technologies. With this, it's now time that we take a formal beginning to this very day. A lot of fruitful information is coming our way, so gear up everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I would request our dignitaries to please join us on the stage. I would very first like to welcome the chief guest of this day, Srimati Pravati Parida ma'am, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Odisha, to please join us on the dais, ma'am. A heartiest welcome. I'll request Mr. Manoj Ahuja ji, IAS Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, to please join us on stage. I'll request Mr. Anil Rajput, Chairman, Advisory Council, Illness to Wellness Foundation, to please escort the dignitaries onto the dais. Requesting Professor Dr. Rajinder K. Dhamija ji, Director, Institution of Human Behavior and Elite Sciences, Government of NCT of Delhi, to please join us on stage. Professor Dr. Jayant Panda, President of Indian Medical Association, IMA, Odisha branch, and requesting Dr. Sanjeev Mahapatra, Honorary Secretary, the Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industries Limited. A heartfelt welcome. Thank you so much for gracing this day. It absolutely means a lot to us. और जैसा कि प्रथा में है और रीति रिवाजों के अनुसार हर शुभ काम को शुरू करने के पहले भगवान की आराधना करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. हमारे जगत के नाथ जगन्नाथ जी की आराधना करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. I'll request honorable dignitaries on the dais to please proceed with the ceremonial lamp lighting ceremony to mark an auspicious beginning of the day. Sir and ma'am, please. Requesting honorable dignitaries, we would love to preserve this memory with you. And now requesting all of you to kindly take your seats. Vakritundim Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Purme Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. Moving on, as we feel extremely privileged to find our honorable dignitaries here with us this morning, helping us support this very, very important cause. And as a thank you note and a welcome note both, we would like to present our dignitaries with something. Requesting Mr. Anil Rajput sir, Chairman Advisory Council, Illness to Wellness Foundation, to kindly present this small token of love on behalf of this beautiful family, which is a symbol of prosperity and a mark of respect, to our honorable chief guest for today, Srimati Pravati Parida ma'am, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Odisha. Ma'am, thank you so much for being here. I would also like to request Anil sir to kindly honor Mr. Manoj Ahuja, IAS Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha. I'll request everyone to please give a huge round of applause. I'll request Anil sir to kindly do the honors for Professor Dr. Jayant Panda, President of Indian Medical Association, IMA, Odisha branch. Thank you so much, Anil sir. With this, I'll request Dr. Sanjeev Mahapatra, Honorary Secretary, the Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industries Limited, to kindly present the small token of love and a mark of respect to Professor Dr. Rajendra K. Dhameja, Director, Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, Government of NCT of Delhi. Thank you so much. And with this, I am now about to welcome somebody who's been so passionate with regard to the field and the cause that we are present here for. In his capacity as the chairman of ASSOCHAM CSR committee, he has catered this issue with this organization with illness to wellness since 2014, which started with setting out camps in the slum areas, benefiting over thousands and thousands of people. During the COVID periods, Illness to Wellness arranged 93 webinars around varied and topical subjects. Post that, Illness to Wellness sealed definitely created a general awareness session across every health issue possible. And today this event is such initiative wherein we enhance and reach out to people, making sure that we make them aware about the impact of illness to wellness campaign. Beside ASSOCHAM CHR, he is also the chairman of FICCI IPR committee and also FICCI Cascade, which is the committee against smuggling. And this has been bought in the year 2011. Well, given such extensive years of experience, I think the credentials can go on and on. But of course, it's now time that we hear this very gentleman who has given his hard work and all his dedication, all his life towards this cause. So ladies and gentlemen, give a huge round of applause for none other than Mr. Anil Rajput, Chairman Advisory Council, Illness to Wellness Foundation.
Hello, good morning. I will be failing in my duty if I didn't start today by saying Bharat Mata Ki Jai. It is a salute to all our soldiers to what they have done. So thank you very much to our security forces, to our Prime Minister, and I would like all of you to please give a round of applause for them. Thanks. Shrimati Pravati Paridaji, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Odisha, Mr. Manoj Ahuja, Chief Secretary, Odisha, Professor Jayanta Panda, President, Indian Medical Association, Odisha branch, Professor Rajendra Damija, Director, Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Services, Government of Delhi, Mr. Sanjeev Mahapatra, Honorary Secretary, the Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industries Limited, distinguished participants, colleagues and friends from the media. Good morning. I am here in front of you thanks to the brainchild of our Deputy Chief Minister Paravati Paridaji. I met her a few months back and we discussed this issue of mental health. And she immediately said that we need to create awareness on this topic, and that's why all of us have collected here. So I would first all of you to give a round of applause for her initiative. This is indicative of her commitment towards the subject of mental health and the seriousness she attaches to it. I must also thank the Chief Secretary, Manoj Ahuja ji, for being here. I have had great honor of interacting with him over the past few years. And he is a very, very committed, dedicated and agile officer that I have met. So thank you very much for being here. I want to take this opportunity to highlight as to why we are here today. Modern day life is putting stress on human mind, and this is impacting productivity, our peace and tranquility. It masks creativity and innovation, at times pushing people towards substance abuse and many other extreme steps, disturbing the social fabric of the society. In India, there is stigma attached to mental health. If there is a visit to a psychiatric or a counselor, we witness raised eyebrows from many in society, which can include some very educated people. And the person is labeled as crazy, mad, or insane. Therefore, there is an urgent need to throw this stigma out and normalize mental health issues as any other disease. There is an old saying that a healthy mind leads to a healthy body, and I couldn't agree with it more. Today's Awareness Summit will deep dive into the critical area of mental health, its impact, engage in effective intervention, and talk about the way ahead. Mental health is as much a problem of young as it is of old. Since the pandemic, there has been a steep rise in mental health related conditions, with a large number of people suffering from unmanageable stress, depression and anxiety. According to WHO, depression affects over 300 people globally and predicted to be the leading cause of disability by 2030. In 2024, studies in India reveal a significant burden of depression, with estimates indicating that over 56 million people are affected, and reach points to a rising trend, particularly in rural areas and among certain demographies. The bipolar disorder landscape in India is also quite serious. About 1 in 150 persons in country suffer from it, and quite disturbingly, 70% remain untreated. Research is now shedding light on the fact that 60% of the people who lose their life in suicide have had mood ailment such as depression or bipolar disorder. This finding is significant as it points to a series of progressions before the most tragic final step. A report by SHM and Thought Arbitrage titled Non-Communicable Diseases in India 2021 found brain and neurological disorder amongst the most prevalent NCDs along with hypertension, digestive diseases, diabetes and respiratory ailments. In the case of students and young, many more are busy searching for material things as the entire space for them has become extremely competitive. There is reduced focus on relaxation and unwinding, and as a result, burnout and depression encircles their lives. In the case of elderly, we are witnessing a rise in loneliness as their children are either not living with them or due to studies or jobs, they are either overseas or out of their native place, or spending much less time because of preoccupation and inability to detach from their busy schedules. There is therefore a fear of growing old, along with increasing insecurities about who will take care of them when they reach their physical limits. The Indian government has launched several initiatives to address mental health challenges. In fact, our Honorable Prime Minister has led from the front with his views and possible solutions that can go a long way in addressing this critical subject. In his popular monthly program, Man Ki Baat, he highlighted the importance of mental health, especially among the youth in current era. He spoke with crystal clarity about the critical role of physical activity, which has been emphasized through initiatives like Fit India, Khelo India, and the impact of diet brought never ever seen before focus on yoga and its myriad benefits, along with the detailing of potential of technology like artificial intelligence in elevating mental health. As per the report of technical group by the National Commission, the population of Odisha is projected to be 46.95 million or 4.7 crore as of July 1st, 2025. Odisha is the 11th most populous state in India, and its population is estimated to reach 4.91 crore in 2036. There has been steady increase in the population of older persons in Odisha, with a proportion of 9.5% in 2011, estimated to reach 13.8 by 2026, which is not too far. Therefore, there is a need that requires much more attention and focus of the state government. In fact, geriatric care will increasingly require unrelenting focus as India's elderly population aged 60 and above is projected to more than double by 2050, increasing from current 150 million to an estimated 347 million. The systems, therefore, need to be envisioned and strengthened. And the beginning is from today. Our youth need to be protected against the perils of the social media. There is a need to strengthen two-way communication between the youth and their families, create a positive environment that accepts average performance as not the end of the world, and instill the spirit of optimism. Talking about the perils of social media, I was watching a Netflix series a few days back, Adolescence, that goes on in detail about the influence of serious impact of social media that can have on the young and impressionable minds. It is really an eye-opener, and I would request every parent, every person to watch that and learn how our young children are getting mentally impacted because of the social media. As a family and society, we need to ensure that both dejection from failure and pressure of excelling that is rampant in the minds of youth are dealt with most effectively. In fact, sports is a great example. When we are on the sports field, you must have noticed that every time you go down on the sports field, there is one team which is winning, another team which is losing. Losing team is not losing heart. They are going back and renewing their resolve to come back and fight again and win. And that should be the mindset that we need to create amongst our youth, that if you are failure is the first step to the success. So therefore, going forward, we need to sensitize our educational institutions and their leadership also. They need to provide an environment where students feel motivated, encouraged, and appreciated. Grades and excellence alone are not what life is about. It is about an honest to self and best effort possible. We need to develop well-rounded personalities in our future generation who have human-centric values and go to become model citizens for our country. In the end, I want to leave all of you with my two takeaways and focus areas. India has twin challenges. On one side, we have the young population, which has to be modeled and molded on the right path of building a strong society, which is number one in innovation, productivity, and social values. And on the other side, develop an effective ecosystem for older population, for which all of us have great responsibility, and the time for starting this is now. Once again, I want to thank Honorable Deputy Chief Minister for her gracious presence. We eagerly await to hear her views on today's subject of mental health and wellness. I am certain that today's program will go a long way in addressing the subject at hand and approaching its multiple aspects, and at the same time deliberating on multifarious strategies for an impact addressal of mental health and well-being. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for the facts and the figures and the deep insights. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I am now about to welcome somebody who would address us on importance of mental health. His address truly remains very special for us, given his experience and his credibility in the field. A distinguished neurologist, professor of neurology and director level 17, secretary to Government of India at the institution of IHBAS, New Delhi, with his rich academic background, including MD and DNB in neurology from India and FRACP from Melbourne. Professor Dhamija brings about 30 years of extensive experience and exceptional accomplishments in neurology and public health. He has received numerous awards, including the S. Radhakrishnan Memorial National Medical Teacher Award in 2018 by the Government of India. He has been working with renowned organizations such as WHO, EAN, and NHRC, amongst others. He has been recently appointed as the chair of National Task Force of Brain Health by the Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for none other than Professor Dr. Rajinder K. Dhamija. So, please.
Good morning to all of you. Honorable Srimati Parvati Parida ji, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Odisha, Shri Manoj Ahuja ji, Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, Shri Anil Rajput ji, Chairman Advisory Council Illness to Wellness Foundation, Dr. Janta Pandaji, President of IMA Odisha branch, and Dr. Sanjeev Mahapatra, Honorary Secretary, Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Odisha. Dear colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, I can see a lot of budding doctors here. Welcome to this Illness to Wellness Foundation first program on mental health. At the outset, I must pay my gratitude to Mr. Anil Rajput ji. He started this program, Illness to Wellness, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, with this small plant, which has now flourished into a big tree. And we are here, almost 100 programs have been organized, and it has been a proud privilege for me to be part of many of these programs in the last 5 years. So there is no health without mental health. That is very, very important to say. And in next 15 minutes, I'll show you how important is mental health and mental wellness in the brain health initiatives across the globe, and how it is linked to the brain economy and our GDP. I can see many of the organizations from the Chamber of Industry and Commerce and FICCI and ASSOCHAM and others here. So it is very important to elaborate why we should invest in brain health and mental health to increase our productivity for the national GDP. So these neurological disorders, they are becoming now an epidemic with the aging population and changing lifestyles. So what we have been doing in last 10 years is that we have been trying to highlight and take the attention of the policy makers that why we should talk about neurological disorders, mental health, and particularly after COVID-19. This is my own op-ed piece in Hindustan Times, trying to catch the attention of policy makers for the Government of India and others in the globe. So telling you about the brain health and the mental health, how they are connected together. The neurological disorders are number 1 cause of disability in the world and number 2 cause of death worldwide. So these are the numbers from the WHO, not from me. And 1 out of 3 sitting in this hall will have one of the neurological disorder or the brain disorder at one point of our lives. So that is very, very important to know. And moreover, 2/3 of these people with the neurological disorders live in lower and middle income countries. So that is again a cause of concern, and there is a limited policy approach till now, and of late we have, with the Honorable Prime Minister taking cognizance of this, this has now become a matter of discussion. So how the brain health and mental health are connected. So this is WHO definition of brain health, which is the state of brain functioning across the multiple domains, allowing a person to realize their full potential over the life course, irrespective of presence or absence of disorder. So it's not only the absence of disorder, it has to be full potential where we can come up with the highest possible productivity. The brain health is an important determinant of mental health, which is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stress of life. So not every stress is a negative stress or a harmful stress. Sometimes the stress also teaches us resilience, and that allows to realize the abilities, learn well and work well and contribute to the community. So that is very, very important, and many of the risk factors are common in the brain health as well as in the mental health and functioning. So there has been rising trend of mental health issues across the globe. You can see numbers here. I am not going to details. 970 million, that is 97 crore people across the world, 12% of the global burden of disease, and of course economic impact, more than $16 trillion economy is impacted by the mental health disorders. So that is something like in India, you can see from 1990 the graph is going up. As of now 5% prevalence, but it's more than 12% in terms of one or the other mental health disorders of individual. That means 1 in 7 individual in this hall has a mental health problem, is minor or major, so unrecognized. So 12.6 you can see any mental disorder, but there are other many. Dr. Anil Rajput has already elaborated some of the mental health disorders in his opening remarks. So coming to in relation to age, as already pointed out, we hear every day the school mental issues for the children in the schools, adolescent, youth mental health issues, and the number of suicides going up and up every year. As per the National Crime Report Bureau, more than 170,000, that means 1,70,000 people committed suicide in 2022. And this number is largest in the world. So it is becoming very high, and you can see different age groups. Almost all productive age groups people in the productive age group, that means 15 to 45 are 50 are the main sufferer of mental health disorders, and that is causing the most impact in that. We had a national mental health survey which has given us the different numbers. That means 50 million Indian children suffer from the mental health disorders, and these numbers are increasing as we go along, and prevalence in the adolescent is 7.3, and males and females almost 7.5 to 7.9, and of course in the urban areas, that also metropolitan urban areas, you can see the numbers are quite high in terms of total, as well as substance abuse, as well as psychotic disorders, bipolar, as well as small neurotic disorders. So that is something to worry about, and moreover there is a treatment gap. That means out of 100 people who require professional help, only 20% are getting that attention. So 80% treatment gap in India, almost across all the disorders, whether it is bipolar, psychiatric, neurotic, alcohol, everything, 80% treatment gap is very, very worrisome, and that is something we have to work on to reduce this treatment gap, and that treatment gap is because of this accessibility, higher cost, out-of-pocket expenses, and that is something causing us very, very big. And that these are the number of human resource, but we have around 3,000 neurologists in the country, 9,000 psychiatrists, around 1,000 psychiatrists now coming up every year with the increase in number of MD seats, but still the ratio is dismal as compared to the Western countries. We have only 6 psychiatrists per 100,000, whereas there are Japan-like countries have 70 psychiatrists. So you can see we are still lagging behind. It will take 30 more years to come up with the number of psychiatrists we need, and mental health workers only 1.93 per lakh population as per the WHO. That is something very, very important, and this is the institutions which are there. The 46 mental hospitals in the country, the state run, and of course the 400 departments, and still there are a lot of issues, increasing stigma, lower mental health literacy, lower awareness, inequitable fund distribution allocation. Only 1% of the total health budget is on the mental health, and that also goes to the major institutes rather than at the community level. So this is the budget of the central government. You can see the health expenditure about 0.8% on the mental health, and that also going to major institutes, and only 6% in the national mental health program. So these are now numbers are being re-looked into, and there is a revamp of total issues. So after COVID, we have seen lots and lots of things happening now. This is the right time, and I must congratulate Mr. Anil Rajput for taking up this issue at this level, and we have now come up that we have to work now, and we have been talking about this again and again, and these issues we have been highlighting not only to the policy makers but also at the community level and professional organizations. So this is the economic burden. I will spend next 5 minutes on the brain economy and what is the economic impact of the mental health and the brain health across the globe. You can see mental health having major chunk, more than diabetes, cardiovascular, COPD, cancers, and including the cost indirect as well as the direct cost in US dollars, $16 trillion invested or in that way. And you can see 2/3 of Indian economy, that is $2.1 trillion annually is lost because of the mental health disorders, and that is something the world is taking cognizance of this, and it's a huge economic impact of mental disorders in the global level. So why we need to invest in brain health and brain economy, from brain negative economy to the brain positive economy. So that is the fundamental now narrative across globe, that we should invest in brain health for the smooth economic transition, and that is reasons why the good brain health is vital to socio-economic sustainability, productivity and well-being. Brain capital, which is brain skill plus brain economy, is again critical economic asset of the success. Now 40 years ago, all these industries and companies used to have physical assets. Nowadays it is the human capital. We are investing in the human skills, and that is something which is happening from the brain negative economy to brain positive economy, and this is vital for upskilling, reskilling and having a good economic that way. Not only in India, globally the brain economy is being discussed at the highest level. You can see the brain health challenge that needs global collaboration. This is what happened at the World Economic Forum in Davos in January this year. 4 months ago I was there, and there was a full brain house session for 2 days at the World Economic Forum, and the European Investment Bank has invested heavily to upskill and reskill the brain capital or human capital, and that is something like this. And there are global efforts everywhere. We are talking about brain health, whether it is G20, G7, World Economic Forum, all over these have the key to health, productivity and well-being is being talked about at the global level, and that is which is now coming up in India also. You can see across the globe, I have been a part of many of these programs where we have invested in brain health, and not only at the G7, G20, World Economic Forum, European Investment Bank, all of them are having this. And in fact, the Forbes has given this on the front page, brain health emerges as a top priority at Davos. I was there at the World Economic Forum. We had full panels discussing the brain health and how it can be impacting our economic development, particularly in developing countries, particularly in India with a huge population and a fifth largest economy, aspiring to be third largest economy. One has to invest in the brain health, and that is something which is happening. What is now mental well-being? Unless you have a mental health and mental well-being joined together, we will not be able to bring the change at the community level, reduce the stigma. So these are things which we need to work on. Positive emotions, engagement, relationship, meanings and accomplishment. All of them are mental wellness. So it's a little different from the mental health issues like depression, anxiety, but mental wellness is something which is a positive term, and that is something which is happening. And this is two terms which we do exactly what is the pleasure about the life and enjoying experiences, any activity that causes happiness, reading books, learning new language, learning new musical instrument, or flourishing meaningful life. That is all part of the mental wellness which we are advocating, and program like this increases awareness. That's why it is called Awareness Summit, and that is something which is happening. Why we need to invest in this? There are things which we have to inculcate in everybody's life, in everyday's life, so that our positive mental health status can bring about a change, and these are protective factors for the mental well-being. So we have to invest in socio-economic, in welfare, as well as the participation, increasing the mental health literacy, reducing the stigma, and coming up with the health human resources as well as infrastructures. So these are things which are being talked about everywhere. This diagram is an individual level, social level, societal level, and of course accessibility, availability, affordability and adaptability to the society. Something which is very, very important. How to nurture mental well-being. Of course, there are many books on that, many counseling sessions, many things which are happening in everybody's life from the social media. But infodemics is also causing a problem rather than helping us. So one has to be very careful in knowing these things, how to overcome, how to build a brain resilience, how to build your cognitive reserve so that you can overcome adverse situations in our everyday life. So this is something very important. A little bit about meditation and mindfulness, which is our Indian culture, Indian concept, that is very important, very helpful in providing a mental wellness and mental well-being, and that should be the part of the life, and that is something which we need to work all together. Collaborative approach like this from the government, from the non-governmental, from the industry, from the corporate, all of us have to work together to increase the mental awareness, mental health and brain health in total, and that is something which I aspire that. These are the takeaway from the life's 10 for the brain health: nutrition, sleep, managing stress, physical exercise, cognitive exercise, socially connection, manage body weight, reducing alcohol, no smoking, managing blood pressure and sugar better, and all things life strengths are now advocated across the globe to improve your mental health and improve your brain health. With this marks, I'll close here. Thank you very much for your attention listening. I hope this mental health awareness summit will create awareness among the masses as well as at the policymakers. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. That was not just a presentation, but of course, a very broad subject and a very deep information that we definitely would take. The advices that replicated, I think, is definitely going to be helpful to everyone here in many ways. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I am now about to welcome somebody who will give us the medical perspective of mental wellness, Professor Dr. Jayant Panda, President of Indian Medical Association, IMA Odisha branch. Next up, we are hearing Professor Dr. Jayant Panda. Sir, please.
Most respected Prabhati Perda ma'am, our Deputy CM, my leader, our leader, and the leader of the Odisha, whose vision is preliminary for the arrangement of this session. Give a big hand welcoming the decision of the government of Odisha to take care of mental health of people of Odisha. We have Shri Manoj Ahuja sir, our dynamic Chief Secretary, Administrator, and many of you must not be knowing, physically and mentally he is fit than any of us who takes a long cycling on the hilltops every year. Big hand for our Honorable Chief Secretary. We have Anil Rajput, who is the visionary from illness to wellness. You think of an organization which takes the challenge of giving good health to everyone, and you heard him, his concern, and really the crux of the problem is in mind. So welcome Anil Rajput with a big hand. And we have Rajinder Dhamija, whom you heard, man who has moved around the globe and seen the challenges and has told you the picture that what is the challenge and how can we go further. And then in the Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, Professor Dhamija is an asset for the country, for the world. We welcome to the soil of Odisha. Big hand for Rajinder Dhamija. And we have our Sanjeev Mahapatra ji, the Secretary of Utkal Chamber of Commerce, who is part of the organization. I thank people who are off stage, Ashish Paul, Sandeep, my professors, my doctors from SCB Medical College, members of Utkal Chamber of Commerce, and the Professor Sarada Shwai here, the ex-director of the Mental Health Institute of SCB, and whole lot of intellectuals. I'll be very brief because most of my job is done by Professor Rajinder, who has taken you through the whole course. And we know brain is an organ which differentiates us from the other animals. We are superior, we have cognitive function, we are able to think, take a decision because of the brain. And he has shown how brain is in danger. And it's our responsibility as part of the medical professional to take care of the good mental health of the state or the country. The best description which has come to me is the WHO definition of health. You know, WHO clearly tells health is a state of physical, mental, social well-being, not just absence of the disease. This definition contains a not which usually we don't keep in definitions, because we all think health is absence of disease, and mental health is one of the important component. And our Veda, our Shastras very clearly describes us as 5 component: the Annamaya Kosha, the Pranamaya Kosha, the Manamaya Kosha, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and the Anandamaya Kosha. The body has been described in the 5 layers, and the mental health is one of the most important component of the good health. And a good mind can create a good health, which all of us know. And Professor Dhamija has very clearly told you about lifestyle. 6 things I'll touch upon: good food, exercise, good sleep, no addictions, no stress, and careful social media and careful screen time is what we all need to protect our brain function, which we many times miss. We miss vegetables, fruits and salad in our food. We take ultra fast processed food. We don't go for walk at least 30 minutes a day. We don't sleep 6 to 7 hours a day. We are one way or other addicted to different substances, nicotine, chewing, smoking, alcohol and others, and the screen time is increasing. No adolescent is sleeping 7 hours. I see people awake at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. working with the social media. So we are deprived on sleep, lot of stress, starting from a kindergarten child to an elderly person. In medical wards, we admit 90 plus patients of suicidal attempt daily. That shows the stress of the society. And then why a 90-year-old will commit? Why a 14-year-old will commit suicide? And then we know the scenario that why people don't want to leave. And this situation in the country and abroad makes us a lot about our mental health. The last part I'll telling you the 5 solutions to your problem. The first thing is attitude to life. Have a positive attitude to life. Problems to rahega hi. Problems is there, problems will be there, and we just cannot cope with all the problems. We have come with a very healthy childhood, but the present adolescent, we don't see that. So attitude to life, positive attitude. हमारा कुछ भी नहीं है तो भी हम खुश है, हमारे से भी ज़्यादा दुखी ये दुनिया में है. That we have to put in our mind. Second thing that I'll tell is thought. What you think, you speak, and what you speak, you work. Always think positive. Always think positive. Curb the negative thinkings in your mind. For that, Professor Dhamija has given you a solution to meditate. Sit down half an hour. Swami Vivekananda told, like you clean your body daily, you clean your mind daily. This is meditation, which will give you a positive thought. And if you think positive, you'll grow positive and you will bring a solution to the people. The fourth thing that I'll bring is love. My tagline in WhatsApp you'll see, love and get loved, love in thought, word and action. Try to love the enemy, try to love everyone, try to love people who speak against you, who act against you. You will be indomitable. Nobody can challenge you. An unstoppable love of mankind, of people around, of profession, of work, so long you are alive and able to deliver. Last solution I'll give you is surrender. Many people will not agree because people want evidence. They don't admit God. You may not admit God, you may not admit Allah, you may not admit Jesus, but there is a supernatural force. You see your own creation, your eye, your nose, your brain, your heart, your liver, your kidney, your lungs. If we write, if we paint and we tell we have created this, such a beautiful creation and there is no creator. There is a creator. And try to practice surrender. You surrender near the force, managing the world and do your duty. That takes away most of your stress. We think that we are doing and something wrong may happen and will be responsible. We have a beautiful panel discussion following and I'm sure you'll get a message and your knowledge, your acquirement will make society healthy, people of Odisha healthy, people of the country healthy, and we will see a healthy India, which is the dream of Mr. Anil Rajput, and that will make successful. At the end, I tell, feel for your country. We are in the verge of attacking the terror in the land of POK in the name of Operation Sindur, and let us pray for the soldiers, for the team who are protecting us. Let us hope we'll see a world terror-free, because today the terrorism is the greatest mental challenge not only in India but across the globe. I thank the Illness and Wellness for this opportunity of my members of IMA, members of fraternity, my students who all will take the message of making everyone in the state mentally healthy. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, sir. There was an absolutely Amazing session. I think everybody in the forum connected so amazingly with your delighted words. Moving on, for the next address, I'm about to welcome our guest of honor for the day, none other than IAS Chief Secretary Government of Odisha. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Manoj Ahuja. Sir, please.
Namaskar. The chief guest of today's function, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Mrs. Prabhati Paridaji, Mr. Anil Rajput, Dr. Dhamija, Dr. Jayant Panda, and Dr. Mahapatra. Esteemed guests in the audience, the doctors who are here, students, other esteemed guests, my friends from the media. I would like to thank Dr. Rajput for organizing a seminar on this very important topic, and also our Honorable Chief Minister, for whom this topic is very close to her heart, and in many ways she has been discussing about it and taking initiatives at different levels to address this issue. But the fact remains, we recognize that this is a problem, and state intervention in terms of a comprehensive policy, in terms of a comprehensive institutional setup to address this is necessary. Efforts are being made both at the national level and at the state level by different people, by NGOs, by institutions to address this. But like I said, what is required is a comprehensive from the state level, a policy document, and also institutional response, which we will be working on under the guidance of Deputy Chief Minister and Chief Minister. I am not an expert like my speakers who gave you insights on this issue, but whatever little personal thoughts I have on the subject, I would like to share with you. First is that if you see that number one, when we are talking about issues like mental health and wellness, it's a spectrum. You know, it's ranging from very low to high level. You can call it, it's a spectrum, needs different kind of attention to it. And secondly, what we have seen is in the last 2-3 decades, there has been an increase in cases which involve mental health. And if we look back, if the changes are there, then there certain things have also changed for us, and maybe some of them are contributing to this. The changes I see in the last 3 decades, number one is related to physiology, the amount of physical effort we make, which is like walking, doing running or whatever. Earlier it was a part of our work. A lot of people depended on physical work. A lot of people, for us as children, going to school meant walking or taking cycles or doing like that. So it was a part of life, and that has come down to a significant level. Second is the whole influx of technology. We didn't even have internet, you know, leave alone computers. And this change has been very, very fast. Our responses, our psychological responses and our physiological responses are much slower. Change in terms of mobiles, virtual connectivity, the fact that human beings, when they look at others, you compare yourself with others. And there are so many things which come into it. And there's a book by Jonathan Haidt called The Anxious Generation, which he's done a study on students, and I think that cohort in America very, very clearly shows after the advent of iPhone 8 in around 2008, when that iPhone came, the trend in mental illness and rate of suicides in people, and there has been a very, very substantial increase. In fact, governments have come in, I think Australia, I was reading somewhere, they've come in with regulations saying that below a certain age you can't use mobile phones and things like that. But the fact is that our psychological response to a new way of living, this wasn't there. You didn't live through mobile phones, you weren't connected to it, you didn't have friends on it, so it has its own challenges which we might have to address. Third is probably what is happening is this nuclearization of families. You know, earlier you had joint family, people were living together. Now these are becoming nuclear families, and I'll tell you why this is important. There's a huge study which was done, like people want to be happy, so there is a quest for happiness. So naturally, people try and find out how happiness can come. So this longitudinal study over, I think, 8 decades, it showed that one thing which was directly correlated to happiness was good relationships. Means that community. And the fact that you are lonely can also perhaps be one of a big cause for mental health and issues like that. The other thing is, which has changed is eating habits. So we didn't have Blinkit or Swiggy and you ring up and get a pizza or a Coke and all the junk food which is there available at the world at your fingertips whenever you want it. It used to be, you know, there was a, let's say, we remember as children, if something sweet would be made, then it will be locked up. Very rarely did you get it, you know. Sometimes you had to steal and all that, that's another matter. But the fact is there was a scarcity. Now it's in abundance. And you can order anything, whatever sweets you want, or Coca-Cola, or pizzas, or Maggi and all. And whatever traditional foods which were diversified and all were coming in. The fifth change I see is the environment where our generation was brought up. You know, resilience was built in. When we were children, if the teachers scolded us, they would also beat us up sometimes. I am not advocating that. And if you go home and complain, our parents would add to that beating and say, you must have done something wrong. Or we would play, we will go out to play, which we used to do, you know, coming out of school, we would go and play. That was that we'll throw our school bags and go out to play. We didn't have mobile phones and all. And there also, when we were playing, somebody would, there'll be bullies. You are playing cricket, maybe nobody will give you a bat, you know. Or if you are fielding somewhere, they'll say you go run there where you have to do maximum running. You couldn't complain to anybody. You couldn't come to and say to your parents, मुझे खेलने नहीं दिया, मुझे batting नहीं दिया, मुझे bowling नहीं दिया. You had to handle these problems yourself. You learned how to handle bullies. You learned how to tackle things in life. And the fact that you didn't matter so much among so many people. So I'm saying that automatic thing did bring about resilience. Why I'm saying so? Because I remember now I attend, when you see this parent-teachers meeting, I've seen parents very aggressive with teachers. हमारे बच्चे को क्यों डांट दिया? Why did you say something like that? And the change has come in schools where teachers and principals are all very, very defensive. They're worried they should not say anything to children and all. Point I'm making is not you should be different, but point I'm saying is that the way people were brought out, there was resilience to some extent built in, which is a part of life. Now what can we do? I think individually all of us have to understand that the changes which are happening, our psychological systems and responses, our physiological systems have not got, they don't adapt so fast. Evolution is a very slow process. What can we do individually? One is we have to put in some efforts ourselves, all of us. We have to understand everybody has problems. You know, I may look very happy, or Dr. Panda told me I'm in very good mental health. You don't know. I may be having equal problems, I may be having stress, but it's also a learning place. You see, problems are also to be overcome, to learn from them. We should understand, all you see on Facebook, happy faces, I did that, is not true. It's not true of the world. All of us live in a world where everybody has a share of problems. We have our share of stresses. But a part of it is our responsibility also. Where you understand, look at problems, understand them and overcome them. I think that's very important. Second thing, individually, I don't know if you have seen that, there's a very nice small clip by, I think, Carl Sagan called The Pale Blue Dot. Have you seen it? It's a photograph of Earth from it was the first photograph of the Earth, the planet, from a distance. You will find that you can't recognize Earth. It's a small pale dot somewhere. Realizing that it doesn't matter. You give in your best, it comes out good, it doesn't come out good, it doesn't matter. You have to realize that. So don't be, overworked and overstressed about small issues. There are how many billions of people, and there are so many planets and so many things happening. So one shouldn't overthink or overwork and worry about things. And the third thing which you will have to do yourself, learn to say enough. Earlier it was, like I said, it was an era of scarcity. We never got sweets and all. It was all rationed. We never got freedom. Now is an era of abundance. I have seen children, they'll be getting 30, 40 toys and this thing they'll be getting. If you want to play virtual games, you can continue playing virtual games or on the net. You want to use mobile phone, you can continue do. You want to eat junk food, you can continue doing. So I'm saying that discipline you will have to bring yourself. You have to know when to say enough. It's important. And why I am saying this, why I am paying this attention to especially food, you see, let's say like I'm giving a direction, I say I want to lift my right hand. I lift it. How is it happening? I just think. It's a mental thought. I want to lift my hand, but how is that thought kind of transmitted to my hand and all? It's a very complicated process. Doctors would know more. There will be hormones there, there will be some electrical impulses, there will be some chemical impulses. Then I think these muscles will shrink, these muscles will lengthen. Just see there. Hundreds and thousands of processes going on in my body just to do it. Point I'm making is the body is a very complex. You can't take the mind separately from your physiology, and that is why both a little bit of physical work, I'm not saying you go to gyms and start having protein shakes after that, but it has to be a part of life. Some movement physically, I don't know, while you're walking to your college or you're climbing stairs or something, is a part of your life. Second, a good diet does help. Diet is also like it's like a medicine you are taking it. So this you will have to kind of somehow bring in a little bit of it. For parents who are here, and these are just my thoughts I have, because for parents, you see, what I find is very important is not whether you succeed or you come first or you come second, but you should have the confidence in yourself. And that is, I think, a big role parents have to play. Not putting stress ke bhai wo unka beta to dekho first aa gaya, inka ye aa gaya, third aa gaya, tum nahi padhte, ye nahi karte, bade hoke kya banoge, and all that. I understand all that. But you see, ultimately, a child who is confident and sure of himself will do. And that's very, very important. So parenting, while we are addressing these issues, I think all of us as society have to address these issues. And that giving a child, every child is unique. Giving him confidence in himself or her, whatever he or she is, I think it's fundamentally very, very important. Third place we go in is, I think, where children interact is schools. I remember from my days as chairman CBSE, whenever we had board exams, we used to set up counseling centers. Calls used to come. Children were worried. They were anxious to a very high degree. And some of those calls I used to listen to. So I think that institutional framework which is necessary, which we have to build in schools, in higher educations, where they should be sensitive. They should understand if a child is not coming 3-4 days, something is happening, red flag should come out, they should reach out to them. So these are all institutional mechanisms. Sometimes it's just everybody has ups and downs, but to address it directly would be, I feel, very, very important. We also have Ayushman Arogya Mandirs, which is down at the rural level, institutional setups in health where we have counselors. That's another area which I feel if we focus from the state, we can improve it. And besides, like I said, the loneliness, one is a lot of aging, nuclear families where children are working, they cannot take care of parents. That's another aspect, which many states, even the country doesn't have a policy for the aging and the old. We'll have to address that. We'll have to find means to do it. I mean, these are just ideas which are there on the plate right now, which has been triggered by this meeting and the speaker spoke about. But these are major problems, I think, for the state, and like Honorable Deputy Chief Minister has been a proponent of this and has been directing, we would definitely come and invest in it. So all I would say is a lot of it collectively, as the state would do, as families we have to do, you as an individual have to do. And one thing what I said, that quest for happiness and that Harvard study, invest in others. Invest in your relationships, have good relationships with your family, extended family, with your colleagues, which will help you a lot. So there's an issue, and I think this issue is only because what has happened, the changes in these 3 decades are very, very fast, much faster than we could respond to them. Evolution is a very slow process. We can't. So I think some consciously, at an individual level, at a family level, school level, higher education level, health level, these are all different pillars on which our strategy would stand. But one thing we have to understand that these are part of life and these will happen. And collectively, we can overcome them. And we will. I mean, that should be our attitude, and we are positive about it. And all I can say is on behalf of the Deputy Chief Minister that for the state it's a big priority, and we will provide whatever institutional policy and other supports which are necessary for this cause. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir, for the wonderful session and words. We move on to the chief guest of this day. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Odisha, none other than Srimati Pravati Parida ma'am. जोरदार तालियों के साथ ma'am.
Illness to wellness, ये अवेयरनेस समिट रे अनिल राजपूत जी को मैं तहे दिल से बधाई देती हूँ कि मैंने जो बोला आपने वो करके दिखाया। मैंने सोचा था कि बड़े बड़े लोगों के पास इसके लिए टाइम नहीं होती है, लेकिन यू अप्रोच मी एज ए बिजनेसमैन एंड वर्क एज ए सोशल वर्कर. थैंक यू सर. चीफ सेक्रेटरी उड़ीसा गवर्नमेंट मनोज आहूजा जी, प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर राजेंद्र के धामी जी, इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन रो प्रेसिडेंट प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर जयंत पंडा, संजीव महापात्र UCCIL, मो सामने उपस्थित शारदा बाबू अच्छी, साइकेट्रिस्ट भी थे, अनेक डॉक्टर्स भी थे, चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स भी बंधु माने थे, यही विषय रे पाठ पढ़ुवा डॉक्टर स्टूडेंट माने भी थे, विभिन्न सेक्टर रे बिलोंग्स करुथिबा ये ITC ग्रुप रो समस्त बंधु माने वो सामने उपस्थित विभिन्न जो धड़ा अप्रुन कहूँ कि एमाने सब डॉक्टर पाठ पढ़ुवे ना तो नर्सिंग पाठ पढ़ुवे बा हेल्थ सेक्टर रो थिबे सब बंधु माने, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स प्रिंट्स मीडिया रो बंधु माने, प्रकृत रे आई फील हैप्पी कि मु गोटे दिन गोटे बुलुथिली जमी मॉर्निंग वॉक रे बुलंती बुलिला बेले मु देखली जने तांकर मोबाइल ऑन करिथिले, सेथिरे शुभ थिला कि जने तान टीचर को पचारुची कि सर मु ए कथा आपण मते कहिले कहवा पई मु कहिले की सुनिबो मोर तो कथा के सुनु नाहंती, तो तांकर टीचर्स तांको कहूथिले देखो सुनिबो केते लोक सुनिबे एटा बड़ कथा नहे, जेतबले श्रीकृष्ण गीता कहूथिले सेतबले सुनिबा लोक जणे थिला, जदि श्रीकृष्ण भावितांते खाली अर्जुन को कौन गीता शुणेबी ताहले आम पाखे आज से कथा न था। तेणु भल कथाटा केते लोक शुणती जते कि इम्पोर्टाट नुहे, मु भावे मो पाखक जी जाए इवेन चीफ सेक्रेटरी को भी मुझे बहुत थर कही, चीफ सेक्रेटरी मत कही मैडम आम निमहांस को डाकिवा माने आई थैंकफुल कि भली माइंडसेट रो गोटे मुख्य शासन सचिव रहिबा कि जेते पॉजिटिव कथा कहिले निश्चय करिबा बोली कहिबा एवं ता पई गोटे प्लान करिबा ड्राफ्ट करिबा ये बहुत बड़ कथा सरकार पई। एवं मु अनेक लोकन को कहि कारण मु थरे अमेरिका जाइथिले, मु भाबिले तांकर बहुत बेटर लाइफ थिबो बोली, मु जेते बोले छुआ मान पाखक गले छुआ मैंने जिते वर्क रे पढ़ाते माँ बापा को तो बहुत बोर लगे तो मु पिला को आसे बोर लगुच बोली कहीपे मु विभिन्न जगह देखला देखे कि बहुत बड़ बड़ लोक माने बहुत स्कॉलर माने साइंटिस्ट माने तांकर मेंटल हेल्थ चेक करने आसती तो मु आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी जाई पचारिली कि मेंटल हेल्थ क्लिनिक आउ एते माने समस्ते टाइम नहीं चंती तो मु देखिली कि से माने चेक करूचंती मेंटल हेल्थ चेक माने इट मे बी लैक ऑफ अटेंशन इट इज द चेंज ऑफ लाइफस्टाइल तो केबे केबे बिना कारण रे आंगर आसुची ये सबू तंकर जो व्यक्तिक्रम तंकर लाइफस्टाइल रे आसुची तापर से जाई कि निज को फिट करौचंती कि एटा मेंटल हेल्थ रो इशू हे थाई पारे तो तंकर डॉक्टर्स मानकर कैंप को भी जाइछि देखिछि सेथरे गोटे चार्ट अच्छे से चार्ट रे आपन को बिहेवियरल रो प्रश्न अच्छे आपन ठीक चिन्ह मारी सरला परे आपन को स्कोर देखैबो आपन जदि 60 प्लस रे अछंती से स्कोर रे से आपन को कहिबे कंटिन्यू द बेस्ट हैबिट्स किछि कहि देबे जदि 50 तळ को अछंती ताहले मेडिकेशन पई कहि देबे तो आश्चर्य हेबे कि अमेरिका रे भी प्रेस्क्रिप्शन योग और प्राणायाम रो होची मेंटल हेल्थ पई मु जब रिटर्न आसिली आई विजिटेड सम साइकियाट्रिस्ट चैम्बर आउट ऑफ दैट शारदा बाबू चैम्बर को भी थरे जाइथिली शारदा बाबू चैम्बर को गला बेले मु बाटरे देखिली बहुत पेशेंट तांको पाखक आसुचंती बट मनरे भय अच्छी कि मो साइकियाट्रिस्ट डॉक्टर पाखक जाउचे माने मो गाड़ी नंबर ता काले के जानि दबो तो ताको बहुत दूर रे पार्क करके आसुचंती गली बुली के आसुचंती एवं शारदा बाबू पाखे ट्रीटमेंट हेले बाहरिला बेल को भी देखी मु बहुत नॉट कि थरे ये रिसर्च मोर बहुत दिन रो मोर राजनीति रुचि भितर भी यही कथाटा रुचि थाए तो मु देखे कि बाहरिला बेले भी जंती पतल गली रे बाहरिबा कथा जंती मु जो पटे आसी आ से पटे जीविनी गले लोक जानि देबे मु साइकियाट्रिस्ट पाखक आसी तो गोटे डेवलप्ड नेशन रे मेंटल हेल्थ पई टैबू नहीं किंतु गोटे प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेट रे मेंटल हेल्थ पई एते टैबू कि डाक्टर को देखेले मते लोक पागल बोली भाबिबे ता कारणरू मेंटल हेल्थ को कहीं एड्रेस भी करंतिनी मु थरे शारदा बाबू को आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी पचारली शारदा बाबू सेबे जान नथिले कि मु ए कथा जानिबा पई जाइछि बोली मुझे शारदा बाबू आपन तो एते मेंटली इरिटेट लोकों को देखुचंती तो आपनकर मेंटल हेल्थ केमते ठीक रहउछ कारण एटा गोटे क्वेश्चन जे मेंटल हेल्थ लोकों को ट्रीटमेंट करूची तार जदि निजर मेंटल हेल्थ ठीक नथिबो से केबे इराटिक लोकों को ट्रीटमेंट ही कर परिबोनी तो से मते कहले मैडम मु सकाळु घंटे प्राणायाम और योग करे मु पचारली आपन केबे पेशेंट को प्रेस्क्राइब करचंती कि मेडिसिन सहित भी योगर आवश्यकता अच्छी तो से चुप रहिले किछ कहलेनी मते मु एमती अनेक माइंड केयर इंस्टीट्यूट ओडिसा रे जे अच्छी दिल्ली को गले अच्छी अहमदाबाद रे अच्छी मु जाइछि किंतु सबुठी मु देखे जहार टिके इराटिक बिहेवियर प्राय डॉक्टर तंकु आमे दे दिए टिके निदरे सोई गले तो बेटर लागिवो ताकू तणु नींद की गोली हैला सबटु बड़ मेंटल हेल्थ रो केयर किंतु मो आखि आगरे मोर जने सांग को देखी कारण आप जानते आज का दिन रे चेंजिंग लाइफस्टाइल रे फैमिली को बहुत अफेक्ट होमें चाहिए भी आउ न्यूक्लियर फैमिली रू बाहरी पारिबानी आमे आम हाथ रे किछि नाही आमे चाहिए जॉइंट फैमिली बनै पारिबानी आमे चाहिए चेंज होउथिबा सोसाइटी को आम कंट्रोल रे रखि पारिबानी किंबा आमे चाहिए भी आम छुआंक हाथरू फोन को आउ अलगा करि पारिबानी कारण आम चाहत रे किछि नाही दुनिया रे किछि चाहत रे आउ नाही किंतु जो लाइफ स्टाइल चेंजिंग होउछि जी हु इज द लीडर ऑफ द फैमिली सी जदि ता टीम को एक्सेप्ट कर परिबनी जदि जी ऑफिस रो लीड करुची सी काम करुथिबा सब लोकन को मेंटल हेल्थ को बुझी परिबनी ताले मु भाबुची ए प्रक्रिया मु किछि जेमते आपण माने भी टीवी रे देखिथिबे अनेक जोग ये सब रे गोटे ट्रैफिक जाम रो कॉन्सेप्ट अछि ट्रैफिक जाम मीन्स आपण जेमते साइरन बाजिले जानचंती एम्बुलेंस आसिला कि नियालिभा कला आसिला तो आपनकर ऑफिस टाइम रे गोटे टाइम हैला माने आपण 1 मिनिट साइलेंस से जिवे तो 1 मिनिट साइलेंस से करी सपोज वर्किंग आवर जदि 8 घंटा ताहले आपण 3 घंटा रे ताको यूज कर परिबे 2 घंटा रे यूज कर परिबे सो दैट से काठुरियार गप जे रही रही करी हानिले बहुत काठ आम हानि परिबा हम एनर्जी को भी सेव कर परिबा सेमती मेंटल को एडजस्ट न करी जदि रही रही करी मझिरे साइलेंस आपण माइंड को मु अभ्यास भी बहुत थर कर आई मे बी ट्रू और फॉल्स आई डोंट नो मो ऊपर जहाँ इम्प्लाय आपण ऊपर न हो पारे भेराइट लोकंकर भेराइट मेंटल हेल्थ थाए किंतु एक कथा सत कि हृदय बहुत मिछ कथा बुझी जाए से ऑलवेज ऑल इज वेल फिल्म रे कहाई कि छाती रे हाथ रखी 3 थर बाड़े ऑल इज वेल कहीदेले हृदयटा बुझी जाए किंतु मन केवे मिछ कथा बुझी पारे ना मु बहुत थर चेष्टा करछि आपण जदि मन को भाबे बुझे देबे मिछरे आपनकर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड केवे सोइबनी तो आपण मॉर्निंग रे फील करिवे कि आपण टायर्ड अछंती कारण आपण तो सोइले किंतु आपन सबकॉन्शियस रे से कथाटा को खोजुथिबो एटा तो सत नुहे तेणु मन को बुझेवा को हेले यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट आपन को माइंड जेमता चाहूची सब कथा आमे मन को देई परिबानी किंतु मन को बुझे न बुझे कि जदि भाबी दबा ताहले से स्पाइडरमैन रो अडुआ सूता भलिया मनटा खोजुथिबो आपण भाबुथिबे से कथा मैटर ओवर मु अलगा काम रे रही गली किंतु भितर भितर मन से कथा खोजुथिबो कि सिचुएशन रो बाहरिबा केमती तो मु भाबुची जो लाइफ स्टाइल हम चेंज करलेनी जो कंपटीशन आसिलानी बहुत छोट छुआ बेलू कंपटीशन स्कोर कार्ड रे हो सबुथिरे आजिका दिन रे आपण जदि पचारिबे काहाको आमे तो बहुत पॉलिटिशियंस माने तो एथिरे बहुत फेस करंती आपण माने भी बहुत अधिक फेस करथिबे आजिकल सब कथा समस्तंकर इज्जतर कथा हिलानी पिला 95% 98% रखिवा पिला को आपण जाई पचारंतु सी बेसी स्ट्रेस रच कारण ता घरे लोक ताको कहूथिबे तू 100 रु 100 रखि पर नथंत कौन भूल हैला आज 2 नंबर कटि गला जो माने 80 एबव रे अछंती मु देखिछि मो घरे दुईटी छुआ मोर गोटे छुआ होछि 98% पिला आ गोटे होछि 77 रो पिला मु 77% पिला को सब बेले खुशी रहिबा देखे से मोर एते पढ़िबार दरकार नाही एते की पाठ पढ़ले भी सब को एलिजिबिलिटी अछि और 98% रो पिला को मु देखे ता स्कोर कार्ड आसला माने से अगर टीचर को सहित झगड़ा लगाए जे मोर कौन भूल हैला जे मोर 2 नंबर कटिला स्ट्रेस भेराइट रे अछि आजिका दिन रे राति रे सपोज आपण सोइबा को जाउचंती कोठ गोटे फोन आसी गला आपण भाबुचंती मते आज डीप स्लीप भलो हबो किंतु जदि गोटे फोन किछ आसी गला सेटा निश्चित भावे मैटर करूथिबो आपण को बिहेवियर ठीक अछि किंतु आपण जा सहित फोन करूचंती ता बिहेवियर जदि ठीक नाही से भी ता माने बेसी मु भावे संसार रे सेई लोक बेसी सफर करंती जे समस्त को खुशी रे रखिबा को चेष्टा करंती भावंती कि मो द्वारा बोधे संसार सब लोग खुशी हो जाई परिबे मु अनेक झियो मानकर काउंसलिंग रे बसिछि मु सब बेले झियो मान को कहे जे नो कहवा सिखंतु किछि कथा हम द्वारा हबनी ताको एडमिट करवा सिखंतु मु सब पई तयारी हेनी आई एम मत मोर रुचि को तो के मु कहीं समस्त को रुचि को संतुष्ट करबा पई मो जीवन टाको लगे देबी आज जो 970 मिलियन रो WHO रो स्टडी तार अर्थ ग्लोबली 8 जन भितर जड़े मेंटाली हेल्थ गड़बड़ अच्छी एमती ना आम 100% लोक मेंटाली गड़बड़ अच्छे कहार 5% कार 3% कार 2% आम ताको आड्रेस करे केतबले जेतबले अक्यूट हो जाए जितेबाला अक्यूट हो जाए से आमको लगे कि आउ लोक लज्जा को संभाला हेनी पिलाटा पगला हो तेणु जावाक से को डॉक्टर पाखे भी बहुत किसी न था कारण आप जानते माइंड को लाइफस्टाइल आउ हैबिट ही बदले दे पार आही बदले दे पारे मु तो बहुत रिसर्चर्स माने इथे थिबे अपन सेशन रे सुनिबे मु बहुत लोगों सहित कथा जे अपन को माइंड मु सपोज गोटे इराटिक माइंड रो लोक मत कौन टैबलेट बदले दे पारिबो मु जेबे मोर प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई करी मु ताकू बाहर करी एड्रेस करी सेथिरो बाहर करी पारिबी कि केतिटी कथा मु निजे करी पारिबी आ किछिटा कथा को छाड़ीबा को पड़िबो ये डिसीजन जेबे मु नहीं पारिबी सेबे जाई मो इरेटिक बिहेवियर बदली पारिबो किंतु मु जदी भाबिबी मेडिसिन खाई देली ताहले हे जिवो मेडिसिन बी द पार्ट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ गोटे डॉक्टर पाखक जाइकिर आसिले किछ समय पे आपन निश्चिंत होबे पेन रिलीफ लागिवो कारण संतुष्टि मन को आसे कि मु डॉक्टर को देखै देली आपन केबे चुट्टी काटे आसिले देखिबे फील होतिबो आपन फील करथुवे कि नै मु जानि नै आपन जेबे चुट्टी काटे आसुथिबे पार्लर रु सेबे आपन को फील होतिबो आपन को टिके स्मार्ट लुक होतिबो कारण आपन को माइंड को जणा पड़ला कि आपन कट करके आसिले आपन ड्रेस पिंधिले जेबे खाली ड्रेस ढिला पिंधुचंती आपन को टिके अलग अलग लागुथिबो जेबे आपन टिके फिट आपन को जोटा लागुची कि मु टाई भिड़िली फिट बोली तो आपन को एग्जीक्यूटिव रो फीलिंग आसीबो ये फीलिंग आपन को पोशाक देनी ये फीलिंग आपन को माइंड आपन को दिए तो माइंड को जोटा भलो लागे नी ताको मनैबा आज जाए मन को मनैबा जिनस केबे तैयारी ही गलनी आपन मनटा मनैबा पई किए आपन अति डियर एंड नियर लोक ता पई जदी आपन सैक्रिफाइस करिवे ताहले जाई कि मन मनैबे मनटा मनैबा होची त्याग ताको आम लाइफस्टाइल रे आमे पर्यंत नहीं पारिबानी तेणु मोर इंटरेस्ट ए सब्जेक्ट रे थिला मते किछि बंधु मते भलो कथा कहले कहले एबे उपमुख्यमंत्री हो गले नी आपण एई इश्यूटा को टिके एड्रेस करंतु ताले बहुत लोकंकर भलो हबो मु अनिल राजपूत को कहली कि जेते काउंसिलर खोजुची मु समस्त कहते टाटा सोशल साइंस रे सबुठु भलो काउंसिलर अच्छा तो आईटीसी ग्रुप पाखे निश्चिंत भावे सेमती अनेक काउंसिलर आसी जाई परिबे आम विभाग रे मु खोजुथली शॉर्टकमिंग्स होउची साइकोलॉजी रे आम पाखे सीट नाही यूनिवर्सिटी रे जो माने एमए साइकोलॉजी करचंती से माने बहुत जल्दी चाकिर पाई जाउचंती काउंसिलर भी आपण 8 सेल ठू आरंभ करी कैरियर सेल सबुठी अच्छे देखो आपण आम सबुदिन देखुचे किंतु आम पाखे पोजिशनिंग सेते नाही तो पोजिशनिंग नथिले मार्केट रे से लोकंकर अवेलेबिलिटी नाही जो माने पास आउट कि जयंत बाबू और शारदा बाबू कहि परिबे कि सेमानक पाखे जो मेंटल हेल्थ काउंसिलर रो स्ट्रेंथ अच्छी से माने पास आउट पूर्वर बुक हो जाते कैंपस रे हो जाते और सैलरी बहुत हाई रे से माने जानते किंतु आमे खोली पारिने आपण देखंतु केड़े केड़े अपोलो किम्स सम्स केते केते हॉस्पिटल जबकि आमे जानिचे मॉनिटर खराब मॉनिटर जेते बढ़िया थाउ सीपीयू गड़बड़ हेले किछि मॉनिटर रे आसीबो टीवी जेते बढ़िया ब्रांड ही थाउ एंटीना जदि नाही तादे किछि चैनल आसीबो किंतु देखो मेंटल हेल्थ को आमे कहीं एड्रेस करूनी बट समस्ते फिजिकल हेल्थ ऊपर बहुत ध्यान दौचे जबकि आमे जानिचे गोटे किडनी नथले भी मनुष्य बंची पारिबो किंतु ब्रेन रे जदि 10% डिसऑर्डर हैला प्रतिदिन सेतिकी लोकंक सहित व्यवहार खराब कारण हो ताकू सामना करुवा लोक माने सिचुएशन बहुत वर्स हो भावुची सोसाइटी रो ये हूँ हाई टाइम आमे कोरोना बेले देखिले घर रे लोक मरीचंती शब पड़ुची शब को कहीं छू नाहंती से भली एपिडेमिक रु पुणी बाहरिक मनीष समाज ठिया हला किंतु जदि टाबू हटेबानी जमती पेड पीरियड लीव पाई कि आम सरकार निष्पत्ति नेला बहुत भल कला कारण गोटे झील मानकर जोटा किसी हाथ में नहीं जोटा साइंस सम्मत से लज्जा कौन समस्ते जानते कि झील होता माने तार पीरियड हम सेमती आमे समस्ते जानिचे आम पाखे माइंड अच्छी माने माने बाल काटिबा सेलून एते इम्पोर्टाट बट माइंड सेलून इम्पोर्टाट नहीं कि तेणु मु भावुची जो सोसाइटी एते हाई लिविंग रे जाउची एते परिश्रम करुची भलरे रहिबाकू चिंता करुची कोठी ना कोठी भलरे रहिबा पई प्रतिदिन आमे नुआ नुआ तरीका खोजुचे आज स्क्रीन टाइम हो सोशल मीडिया हो डिस्ट्रैक्शन आम पाखे बढ़ी बढ़ी चली यही समय रे आम सोसाइटी को सबुठ अधिक जदि आवश्यक कहार अच्छी से मेंटल हेल्थ अच्छी आज दिन रे चर्चा हम आपण माने पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे निश्चिंत हवे मेंटल हेल्थ पाई चीफ सेक्रेटरी सहित मु कथा हेची आमे गोटे मेंटल हेल्थ वीक बनेवा जो थिरे आमे जमती दुर्नीति मुक्त करबा पाई समस्त जगार आमे शपथ नौचे आमे मेंटल हेल्थ को भी ओडिशा राज्य सरकार सेमती तृणमूल स्तर जाए स्कूल कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी हॉस्पिटल आरोग्य केंद्र सबुठी आमे मेंटल हेल्थ उपरे काम करवा मु भाबुची मेंटल हेल्थ को जदि आमे सचेतनता करैबा खाली से विषय रे कथा होबा कारण आम टाबू को हटेबार अछि आमको माइंड रो डिसऑर्डर उपरे जानिबार अछि एंगर एंजाइटी इरिटेशन स्लीपलेस ये सब मेंटल हेल्थ तो ये मेंटल हेल्थ को एड्रेस करबा पई समाज जो टाबू अछि ताकू हटेले मु भाबुची जो साइकियाट्रिस्ट माने अछंती जो योग थेरापिस्ट माने अछंती एवं थेरापिस्ट सेंटर बहुत यंग एज रो पिला माने फोन करचंती कि हमको डिप्रेशन अच्छी बट कोठी जीवु व्हेयर टू गो व्हेयर द काउंसलिंग सेंटर को जगह आम ट्रिटमेंट करूँ कारण आप जानते ये 2 दिन तले गोटे पेपर रे बाहरी थिला जे जहाँ पाखे यही विटामिन रो डिफिशिएंसी हम से तार बेसी डिप्रेस सुइसाइड अटेम्प्ट करने को चेष्टा करियो किंतु डिप्रेशन रो जदि न हब डिप्रेशन एनी लेवल को जाई पारे खाली छुआ को नहीं बड़ को भी हो पारे रिटायर्ड कला परे लोक भी रेल लाइन रे मुंड दौरान कारण तांको पाई भी डिप्रेशन अच्छी तेणु डिप्रेशन माने ठेला बिकाली को भी हो पारे आईएएस ऑफिसर को हो पारे बड़ बिजनेस वाला को भी हो पारे तेणु डिप्रेशन एंगर एंजाइटी आकु ट्रीटमेंट करबा पई ये मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यू को एड्रेस हवा दरकार आज इलनेस टू वेलनेस रो ये जो आरंभ करिसंती अनिल बाबू और वेलकम ग्रुप निश्चिंत भावे सरकार उपरे समाज उपरे ये उशृंखल जीवन यापन भितर बंचुथिबा हम समस्त को ये निश्चिंत भावे गोटे नुआ बाट देखैबो बोली मोर आशा समस्त को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम. It was truly an honor to hear from you. And with this, last but not the least, for the concluding address of today, I would like to welcome Dr. Sanjeev Mahapatra, Honorary Secretary, the Utkal Chambers of Commerce and Industries Limited. So, may we have some few words from you.
Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Odisha, Madam Pravati Parida ji, esteemed Chief Secretary of the State, Sri Manoj Ahuja ji, Professor Dr. Rajendra K. Dhamajia, Director, Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, Government of NCT of Delhi, Professor Dr. Jayant Panda, President, Indian Medical Association, Odisha Branch, Mr. Anil Rajput, Chairman, Advisory Council, Illness to Wellness Foundation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from media. it is indeed a proud moment for Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industry Limited to be a part of this significant summit dedicated to mental health and welfare. We thank Sri Anil Rajput ji for giving us an opportunity to be a part of this significant initiative started in Odisha. We are especially grateful to our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister for our valuable address on mental health challenging and mental health challenges and for highlighting proactive approaches to tackle or address them. Madam, your focus on the mental health is indeed a milestone in the state of Odisha because this kind of issues was never addressed and this is a chronic issue which needs to be addressed. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart that you have thought of this and perhaps Odisha will be showing path to different states in different parts of India under your guidance and definitely this will be a model state in terms of mental health. As we have, and the very presence of our Chief Secretary, the executive head of the state, shows the commitment of the state in addressing this issue of mental health. Sir, we thank you for your kind presence and it has encouraged all of us with your presence that we are sure that this government will definitely take it forward in a very positive note. Thank you, sir. As we have seen, mental health affects every sphere of our lives, our workplace, even we entrepreneurs. We always go under stress that how to expand, how to give the salary. Sometimes there is no business. During the COVID, we have faced that and how to drive it forward. And even in families and different communities, we have mental health issues and which even in natural calamities, even the COVID had created a mental health issues for all of us, including me, and which has emotional and psychological impacts. One critical point I would like to emphasize the acceptance of mental health issues, often due to social stigma. Individuals hesitate to acknowledge their struggle, which Madam has told, leading to neglect and delayed interventions. Breaking this silence and fostering openness is essential for meaningful progress. I would like to extend heartfelt thanks to Mr. Anil Rajput, Chairman of the Advisory Council of Illness to Wellness Foundation, for selecting such a pertinent theme and bringing this impactful campaign in our state of Odisha. His unwavering commitment over the past decade to spreading awareness and promoting preventive health care is truly commendable. As our esteemed experts have already shared valuable insights and as more will be discussed in the upcoming panel, I'll keep my remark brief. On behalf of UCCIL, I would like to reaffirm our support on behalf of our board and our president that for any initiative that furthers cause of mental health and wellness in Odisha, let us move forward together to build a healthier and more resentful society for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And on that note, as we know that this day has to be remembered because this is the beginning of something new here in the state. So, in the honor of the presence of our chief guest and guest of honor, I'll please request Mr. Anil Rajput, sir, to please present a small token of love on behalf of this beautiful family and in the memory of today's initiative. Small token of love to Srimati Pravati Parida ma'am, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Odisha. Ma'am, thank you so much for being here. Your presence truly means a lot to us. I'll request Anil sir to please do the honors for our guest of honor, Mr. Manoj Ahuja, IAS Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha. I'll request everybody to please put your hands together. Thank you so much. With this, I'll request Dr. Sanjeev Mahapatra sir to kindly present this token of love to Professor Dr. Jayant Panda, President of Indian Medical Association, IMA Odisha branch. I'll request Sanjeev sir to also do the honors for Professor Dr. Rajendra K. Dhamijaji, Director, Institute of Human Behavior and Lead Sciences, Government of NCT of Delhi. And we would love to preserve this memory with all of you, hence requesting all of you to please step forward for a group picture. Sir and ma'am, please. Once again, thanking our chief guest, our guest of honor, other dignitaries on the dais for being here, for supporting this initiative. And we definitely believe this has a long, long way to go, and definitely a very, very crucial impact would be created within the state of India with this initiative. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the upcoming panel discussion will begin in a while with eminent panelists, with few crucial facts and figures, exploring some of the most encouraging conversation amongst all. Once again, thanking all the dignitaries for being here. I'll request once again a big round of applause for our Deputy CM and our IAS Chief Secretary. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Requesting everyone to please pay attention and kindly grab your chairs, settle down. We are all good to go with the panel discussion on elevating minds, strengthening awareness of mental and brain health. This discussion would accumulate some very, very crucial issues, some very, very important bullet points, breaking the stigma and encouraging open conversations about mental health, exploring the mind-body connection and how physical activity impacts the health. Recognizing early signs of common mental health conditions for early intervention, effective ways to manage stress, anxiety, and depression. Understanding how sleep, nutrition, and lifestyle affect mental clarity and well-being. Strengthening mental health through mindfulness, social support, and professional help. Importance of psychological first aid and counseling to the disaster-affected communities. The session will be moderated by Professor Dr. Rajendra K. Dhamijaji, and the eminent panelists for the session would be Professor Dr. Sarada Prasannaswamy, Director, MHIs, COE, SCB, MC and HOD Psychiatry, SCB Medical College, Cuttack. Requesting all of you to please have a thunderous round of applause for Dr. Sarada Prasannaswamy, Professor Dr. Jayant Panda, President of Indian Medical Association, IMA Odisha branch, Professor Bhubaneswar Panda, Professor of Public Health, KEET deemed to be University, Bhubaneswar, Mr. Debashish Vishwal, Director, National Health Association of Mental Health and Allied Health Foundation, NAMA Foundation, Dr. Anshuman Panigrahi, Scientist E, Regional Medical Research Center, Bhubaneswar, ICMR. With this, I request Professor Dr. Rajendra K. Dhamijaji to kindly take over and moderate the session. Can we have more microphones? Sound team ko request karibe out ke cordless microphones place karibe on the table. On that regard, may I please request Rajendra sir to kindly take over.
Thank you very much and good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for staying on and for this important panel discussion, which is a follow-up of an excellent inaugural ceremony which we had. Words of wisdom from Honorable Deputy CM, Honorable Chief Secretary and other experts, and this panel discussion will be now focusing on various aspects of mental health and mental wellness, how in our daily life we can promote the positive mental health and how we can daily habits can inculcate which will help us to develop the mental health positivity. So with me, I'm privileged to have extreme distinguished panel with me, Dr. Professor Sarda Prasanna Swain. He is the Director of Mental Health Institute, Center of Excellence, SBC Medical College and HOD Psychiatry from the SCB Medical College, Cuttack. Please welcome Professor Swain. We will be joined very soon by Dr. Jayant Panda, who is the President of IMA Odisha branch. With me is also Dr. Bhuputra Panda. He is the Professor of Public Health, KIIT, deemed to be University of Bhubaneswar. And I am also joined by Mr. Debashish Biswal, the Director, National Health Association of Mental Health and Allied Health Foundation, NAMA Foundation. Welcome, sir. And Dr. Anshuman Panigiri, Scientist, Regional Medical Research Center, Bhubaneswar, ICMR. Welcome to all of you. Let me start with Dr. Anshuman Panigiri, sir. In your vast experience in the area of public health and research, of late in last 3 decades, there has been a lot of evidence which has been generated for the promotion of mental health, but it's not happening at the ground level. This evidence from the research globally as well as nationally as well as regionally is not being implemented at the ground level, which that means every individual at the ground level or a normal person or a common man is not being benefited, whether it is the stigma, whether it is the latest innovation in the AI or research in terms of promoting, preventing mental health. So what is your take on this, from evidence to the practice? Where are the gaps? How we can overcome that gaps? And what are your thoughts about how we can improve the mental health of a common man using the evidence which you have generated in last 3 decades? Over to you.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizers for inviting me for this summit, awareness summit. It's really a privilege and an honor for me to be a part of this awareness summit on mental health and well-being. So first of all, actually mental health, it's not a personal journey. It's a collective responsibility. It's the responsibility of all. It starts with the self, from that individual, then family, the society. Everyone has a responsibility. In the wake of growing global challenges, from public health crisis to social pressures, emotional well-being or mental health has a central part in our lives. How we work, how we live. And as sir said, mainly I am focusing on the implementation research. There are many evidence-based interventions available in the world. Starting from your cognitive-based, cognitive behavior therapy, mindfulness-based stress reduction, yoga, Tai Chi, all these mind-body exercises, or community-based approaches. So many evidence-based interventions are there. But these are not reaching to the public. So implementation research says, or implementation research is focused on translating evidence into practice. Now first, we have to understand what implementation research is. So for that, again, you have to understand, we have, suppose, evidence-based interventions are there. For example, suppose one mind health safety plan is there. Suppose this mind health safety plan or one Stanley Brown safety planning intervention, this is an established model, okay? And this model works well. It is already proven that this is mainly, it reduces the suicidal behavior. This is mainly targeting the individuals who are at risk of suicide or some severe emotional distress. But the thing is that how it is being implemented. So that actually one has to understand. So to understand that actually whether it is working or not, so you have to find out the contextual factors influencing the intervention, influencing implementation of that intervention. After understanding the contextual factors like barriers or the challenges or the facilitators, you have to design some implementation strategies, how it will work, how it will reach the public. Okay, then you have to test that implementation strategy. I mean, we use usually different trials like RCT or cluster randomized trials to test the effectiveness of that implementation strategies. Because the aim is, or the goal is to see actually how effectively we can implement that intervention, how sustainable it will be. How, I mean, how to make it scalable, how to make it sustainable, how it will become culturally sensitive. And again, it is context specific. I mean, suppose you are saying that this evidence-based intervention is working well for this particular mental health issue, for depression, for stress, for anxiety. But it may again vary from place to place. It may vary from person to person. So then you have to contextualize. So that is the reason. So briefly speaking, first you have to identify the barriers and facilitators. Then you have to, based on that, you have to design your implementation strategies. Then we test the implementation strategy. And the goal is to see actually how to integrate these evidence-based interventions in the real world settings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think it's very important your last line of integrating and collaborative with various stakeholders, including the clinicians, the researchers, the public health professionals, the policy makers. So that is very important, so that the evidence generated can be translated and useful for the common public at large. So that is very important, and you talked about various models and which are very effective for suicide prevention, for example. And my next question is, of course, very, very important theme on suicide prevention, and a lot of suicides are happening in colleges and coaching centers and quotas and other things. And even as we speak, in first 4 months of 2025, more than 20 students have committed suicide in Kota city alone. And this is all pressure, whether it is peer pressure or academic pressure or not adjustment and other things. So my next question is to Professor Sarda Prasanna Swain, sir. You are the head of the Mental Health Institute in Odisha, which is a center of excellence and an excellent institution by itself, one of the 46 mental health institutes in the country. So where do you think that, where are we heading? National Crime Report Bureau, which is, I believe, is a very underestimation of the suicides. What we can do in the institutes of higher learning, the school mental health programs, or the adolescent and youth mental health, when we are losing so many young lives, which are productive future of the country, and these young people are sacrificing their lives or committing suicide, ending their lives, which is highly preventable. I think we were becoming suicide capital of the world because of the numbers alone. So where do you see what policies should be adopted, what strategies should be adopted, how the mental health professionals and mental health institutions like yours can pitch in to help to tide this crisis which is facing us, glaring at us, that losing young lives is very painful. Every day in the morning you hear something has happened, and youth and mental health, and something very, very close to our heart. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Before going to my topic, at least everybody, those who are sitting here, everybody has an intuition by seeing the picture. Mental illness to wellness. Illness is depicted in the red line and wellness in the green line. Everybody has a curiosity whether there is any boundary line or not. Of course, I think everybody should be clear about it, whether boundary line is there or not. Of course, there is a boundary line. In the inaugural speech, our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister has already pointed out the stigma behind mental illness. Why there is a stigma? The root cause of the stigma is the definition is not defined till now, because it is not a particular disease like hypertension, where you will find out the BP is more than, systolic is more than 120 and diastolic is more than 80, so it is hypertension. Mental illness is not like that. Diabetes, that it is defined that sugar level is this. So where is the boundary line? First everybody have to understand, and everybody have to diagnose whether they have the mental illness or not. In the morning session, I don't think how much of people were very attentive. Dr. Dhanija has given a definition of mental illness. Everybody should remember three things. Just try to understand. For example, in the morning you are getting up, you want tea. Tea is not there. How you are reacting? That means you personally, in the early morning, how you are reacting to your own stress. After morning tea, for example, you require some money, you just tell your parents, please give some money. Parents will not give the money. Money is not there. How you are reacting with your parents? That means after the stressful situation combating by yourself, how you are interacting with your family. After family, you are going to the workplace. Your boss is giving some target to you, and you are unable to do it. How you are unable to, how you will be able, or how you are reacting with the boss. That means, for your understanding, with your coping mechanisms from early morning till night, how you are combating your own stress and how much you are producing effectively. That is because of your copings. That means there is no such boundary line like hypertension or diabetes that will tell, as our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister told, that there is a distress or stressful event in everybody's life. So always you remember, as much as you keep the stress in your brain, you will be more towards mental illness. This thing is there in my hand. How much time I will keep it? As much as I will keep this in my hand, that is, we are going towards, like a fulcrum, we are going towards illness. As much as easily, because of my network or learning mechanism, I am distressing it. As much as I will discard it, the stress, that is going towards illness. So, there is no such boundary line between the illness and wellness. This is one aspect of the definition of mental illness everybody should understand. Now coming to the Dr. Dhanija's question about the suicide. As you know, during COVID-19 in Odisha itself, there are 532 deaths, and among them, adolescents were much more than that of adults. And the adolescent death is second leading cause of death in the world and also in India between 15 to 20 age group. Then next question come to my definition, how a child or a adolescent learn to combat stress. Not that you will teach them by telling anything verbally. Always a child, those parents, those who are sitting here, or a adolescent, learn to cope with the stress or learn mental health from the parental behavior. For example, I am giving one example. Nowadays in the school, they are giving some tasks or some projects in the CBSE school, because our Chief Secretary was the director or the head of the CBSE. So, when child is giving some task, child is coming to house, the parents are going to the shop, just purchasing something, mother is going to another shop purchasing something and completing the task, and child is producing the project under the CBSE curriculum in the school. That means, because of the single or by-child norm, no parents wants to make child stressful. How it is becoming harmful for the child in the latter part of life, you have known the story. Every parents want their child to become fast in the class, secure more than 90%, and the resultant effect you are observing in our country in the Rajasthan quota. Everybody wants their son and daughter to be doctor or engineer and taking coaching, and by virtue of that not learning the coping mechanisms, child with minimal stress is trying to commit suicide and learning from the social media. So the basic mechanism is make your child to learn how to cope with the minimal stress. That means purchasing something from outside, not to give whatever child demands. These are small stresses, so that child will learn how to combat stress. There is nothing in the mental health that is called medicalization of mental health. Mental health we learn from ours. How much of our in the parental age, how much of suicide you have seen? So our status has been changed. School mental health program, as sir has mentioned, is not a concern for any teacher or any parents. In the mental health is the main component which was learned at the time of COVID-19 because everybody felt the value. So I want to say that each and every parent, each and every teacher should work to make the child to learn how to combat the minimal stress during study or during the working hours, so that child will be competent to face the bigger stresses in his adolescent or adult life. That is not happening. This is the basic root. So we should teach our child how to learn stress. And school mental health program we should properly implement. And every child is special, as you know, as our Chief Secretary has already told. So because every child is special, nothing is required. Now there is multiple professionals, not that somebody will only become doctor or engineer and sending the child to quota and making the mental pressure is completely should not be done in our society. So for this, I will completely blame the parents and the teachers. This is my version about the mental health.
I think it's very important to take away points from Dr. Sven, that there is a multiple inputs, multiple pressures, academic pressures, parental pressure. I think at least from the parental level, we can at least control those factors which are under our control and not beyond the control. Now I'll move to Dr. Devasis Biswal. Since you are the director of the National Health Association of Mental Health and Allied Health Foundation, NAMA Foundation, and you deal in and out with the professional peoples and you work very closely with them. So what do you think about the workplace stress? We talked about the children, adolescent and the youth mental health. Coming to the next phase of our life, there is a workplace stress, and particularly even in the medical professionals, we see a lot of stress, and there are regulators in many countries like Australia where doctors have to undergo fitness before renewing their registration to practice medicine. So after a certain age, about 70, all the doctors are subjected for a fitness about mental as well as physical, so that they can be safe and practice clinical practice. So where do you see, as an association of professionals, mental health professionals, what are the challenges, what are the barriers, what are the solutions for this group of population which are working class, which deal in and out of workplace stress at the level, whether it is meeting the targets, whether it is getting work done from your juniors, whether you are handling your seniors, whether there is a system failures, whether there are no promotions, where there are lack of incentives, lack of children education. So there are so many factors which come into play while we have a workplace factors and workplace dynamics in each institutions. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. From the beginning, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu Ma Kasit Dukha Bhavet. There is no health without mental health. We are always talking about mental health, illness, health, wellness. But the meaning is added when you accept this. The level of acceptance should be there with you. You are priority for everything. Because when a person is felt neglect, that means threatening the self, threatening the personality of that person. Acceptance should be there. Problem is everywhere, in general and specific also. But always we should not underestimate ourselves. We should commit ourselves. Workplace mental health is the theme of this year, according to the World Health Organization. So everywhere, maybe it is a corporate level, maybe it is a medical professional, maybe it is a different pharmaceutical companies. So everywhere mental health is important. How the employee and employer's relationship. Sometimes what happens, we are always giving the priority for the work without checking our mental health. But mental health is under the work. So mental health at work is very important. Whenever we are, for example, doing something, we are doing something for the, some tasks are there to complete. You have to check whether you have overburden or not. So this is priority for the organization. Every month they should conduct some of the workshop, some of the one-to-one individualized program, so that employees should reduce their stress level. There are second point, individual as an individual, you can check yourself. रात में नींद नहीं होता है, मुझे खाने को पसंद नहीं होता है, मुझे किसी को बोलने से मन नहीं लगता है, मुझे गुस्सा आता है बात बात पर. इस बात को एक बार ठीक से समझना चाहिए, because you are your doctor and you are your patient. मुझे क्या हो गया मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, मैं ऐसे चलता हूँ, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, रात में कब सो गया, कब सुबह हो गया, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, मुझे जो दिखाई देता है वो सच्चाई है कि नहीं उसको कुछ पता नहीं. That means आप क्या है, आप कौन है. फर्स्ट खुद को ढूंढना बहुत जरूरी होता है. आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग एंड आर्ट ऑफ गिविंग, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लाइफस्टाइल से सारे चीज जुड़े होते हैं और सारे चीज आपका कनेक्टेड होते हैं मेंटल हेल्थ से. हम कोई स्पेसिफिक ऐसे डोमेन नहीं बनाएंगे कि मेंटल हेल्थ एक एरिया है. ऑल आर कनेक्टेड ईच अदर. स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जब भी कोई हम लोग पूजा पाठ करते हैं, ध्यान करते हैं, मेडिटेशन करते हैं, माइंडफुलनेस में भी, योगा, ऑल थिंग्स आर वी आर डूइंग, बट इट शुड बी ए प्रायोरिटी फॉर यू. क्या मुझे योगा सीखना जरूरी है? अगर है तो उसको सीखना चाहिए, नहीं तो मेरा बॉडी वेट लूज करना है, मुझे योगा सीखना है, मुझे रिड्यूस करना है इसीलिए सीखना है. नहीं, इस डेली जो जीवनचर्या में इसको लेना है, तभी जाके आप कुछ कर पाएंगे. नहीं तो ऐसे क्या होगा, एक ना एक दिन आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि ये सब मैं कुछ कर रहा था, ये सब कुछ काम की है ही नहीं. जब आप कुछ करने लगेंगे और सीखने लगेंगे, लाइफ स्किल इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. स्किल टू डिफीट, हारना सीखिए, जीतने से पहले हारना सीखिए. हम लोग हार जाते हैं तो डर जाते हैं. सो ये जो चीज होता है, क्योंकि एडोलेसेंट मेंटल हेल्थ is very important nowadays. In school, college, in university, everywhere the things are there. Acceptance of the failures is very important. How to accept? In our organization, we have done so many programs. Even recently, we have done one police well-being in Lucknow Police, ITVP. They are very critically doing this situation, you don't know. In the border side, they are giving their services. In pertinent to this area, I am saying, our organization extend collaboration with knowledge partner with NIMANS, with ICMR and Kids School of Public Health. We have already done one international conference. The mean is that to sensitize the people, to understand their problem at a level. जब तक आप नहीं समझेंगे, आपको कोई समझा नहीं पाएगा. ये सीधा बात है. एंड स्टिग्मा अटैच विथ मेंटल हेल्थ, आप तो जानते हैं, ये सारे चीज़ हमारे सोसाइटी में अभी एक्सेप्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि आवर सोसाइटी इज नॉट मैच्योर एनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग। इसको हम एक तरफ से लेना चाहिए, हमको एक कदम उठाना चाहिए। फर्स्ट, मेंटल हेल्थ स्टार्ट फ्रॉम योर फैमिली। फैमिली इज एवरीथिंग फॉर यू। जब फैमिली में कुछ डिस्टर्बेंस होता है तो बच्चा सीखता है। जब बचपन से बच्चा प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करता है तो फैमिली से, अगर पेरेंट्स का रिलेशनशिप अच्छा नहीं रहे तो ये इम्पैक्ट बच्चे का ऊपर पड़ता है, और ये धीरे 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 बड़ा हो जाता है। तो फैमिली में आप कोशिश करिए कैसे आपको एक समझौता पे आना है, डिस्प्यूट रिजोल्यूशन का जो प्रोसेस है उसमें कैसे समझौता करना है। बच्चों को सिखाइए लाइफ स्किल, खरीदना कैसा है, बोलना कैसा है, अतिथि सेवा कैसे करना है। जैसे एक दिन मैंने एक स्कूल में प्रोग्राम में गया था, मुझे वो रामलीला सेतु जब प्रतिष्ठा हुआ था उस दिन मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने डिक्लेयर किए थे उसमें छुट्टी है। मैं एक बच्चा को पूछा उस प्रोग्राम होने के नाते, उस नेक्स्ट दिन प्रोग्राम हुआ था, तो कल छुट्टी क्यों था? नहीं, कल राम का कोई प्रोग्राम, मतलब कुछ हो रहा था मंदिर वंदिर, तो इसके लिए छुट्टी था। तो मैं बोला कि राम सीता का कौन है बताओ? बोले बहन। सोचिए हमारा कल्चर कहाँ पे पहुंच गया है। वी आर ऑलवेज थिंकिंग अबाउट दिस, ऑल थिंग्स आर देयर, ऑल थिंग वंडरिंग। माया मृग जैसे हम लोग घूमते हैं, पर मेंटल हेल्थ आपके अंदर में ही है। हम लोग सोचते हैं कि मैं कोई डॉक्टर के पास जाऊं, कोई दवा दे दे मुझे ठीक हो जाऊंगा। ये इन जनरल में बता रहा हूं, बिकॉज मेंटल हेल्थ हैज इट्स डिफरेंस कैटेगरी, माइल्ड, मॉडरेट एंड सीवियर। जो सीवियरिटी है उसमें आपको दवा की सपोर्ट की जरूरत है, रिहेबिलिटेशन की जरूरत है, हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन की जरूरत है। पर कॉमन पीपल जो है स्ट्रेस, डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी, ये सबको फील्स होता है। तो इसमें आपका जो लाइफस्टाइल को चेंज करना चाहिए। हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कुछ प्रोग्राम्स हम डिजेबल चिल्ड्रन के ऊपर किए थे, जो इंटेलेक्चुअल डिजेबिलिटी है। चेतना इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेंटल रिटार्डेशन आपने जानते हो भुवनेश्वर में, वहाँ पे जाके किए थे। वहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम हुआ था, पेरेंट्स केयर गिवर ट्रेनिंग्स हुआ था, पीयर टू पीयर प्रोग्राम हुआ था। तो यहाँ पे सीआरई प्रोग्राम जो था वो बहुत अच्छा हुआ था, और पेरेंट्स भी बहुत अच्छे से डील्स किए कि हाउ टू जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड देयर चाइल्ड। कुछ बच्चे होते हैं जिसको डिजेबिलिटी उनको अंडरस्टैंड नहीं होता है, वो पेरेंट्स एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते, मेरा बच्चा ऐसा नहीं है, मेरा बच्चा ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता। वो समझना चाहिए बच्चे का लेवल क्या है। तो प्रॉब्लम यहाँ से क्रिएट होता है और ऊपर ऊपर लेवल तक जाता है। ये सारे चीज जो है एक समझौता पर होना चाहिए, एक एक्सेप्टेंस होना चाहिए एंड कमिटमेंट होना चाहिए। हाँ, हम कुछ करेंगे, कुछ नया चेंज करेंगे, मेरा बच्चा ऐसा है तो ये करने के बाद हम इसको ला सकते हैं। सो दीज ऑल आर फ्यू हाइलाइट्स। थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मुद्दों को जो है टच किया है, और एक्सेप्टेंस और वैल्यूज़ इनकलकेशन बच्चों में जो हम देते हैं, और आजकल के जो वैल्यूज़ थोड़े कम हो रहे हैं, उसके ऊपर पेरेंट्स कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं, कैसे उसको अपग्रेड कर सकते हैं, कैसे उसको एनहांस कर सकते हैं, उनमें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर द मेंटल वेल बीइंग ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन एंड मेंटल वेल बीइंग ऑफ द वर्किंग क्लास। नाउ आई स्विच माई गियर्स एंड कम टू डॉक्टर जयंत पांडा जी। डॉक्टर जयंत पांडा, आप यू आर ए हेड ऑफ द IMA उड़ीसा, और IMA इतनी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, 375,000 डॉक्टर्स नेशनल लेवल पे उसके मेंबर्स हैं। आई डोंट नो अबाउट उड़ीसा कितने मेंबर्स होंगे, लेकिन इतनी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ डॉक्टर्स, और हर डॉक्टर जो है हज़ारों मरीजों को देखता है। तो यू कैन मल्टीप्लाई कि कितना आपका रीच है एक पब्लिक एंगेजमेंट में, एक कम्युनिटी एंगेजमेंट में, और आप जो है इतने बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हेड करते हैं और डॉक्टर्स की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हेड करते हैं, और आपके पास जब पेशेंट आते हैं, चाहे वो डॉक्टर गूगल करके आते हैं, चाहे वो डिजिटल ऐप्स को देख के आते हैं, चाहे वो डिजिटल टूल्स को यूज़ करते हैं, और उसके ऊपर जो मेंटल हेल्थ की जो समस्या है, वट एवर इज़ द डिजिटल टूल्स आर अफेक्टिंग द मेंटल हेल्थ, whether it is screen time. In the morning session we heard about from the Chief Secretary as well as the Honorable Deputy CM, touching upon the screen time, touching upon the digital media, touching about the social media, impact of these distractors in the mental makeup of our children, adults, elderly, all the three groups. So where do you see the role of organizations like IMA and doctors themselves for handling such a diverse situation where people come with loaded with information. पहले पैंडेमिक सुना था, आजकल इन्फोडेमिक है कि इन्फॉर्मेशन का भी पैंडेमिक है. इतनी इन्फॉर्मेशन आ रही है हर जगह से. We are flooded with the information, and there are various sources, whether correct or incorrect, whether we verify or unverified. So there is a huge influx of information which is affecting our decisions. So where do you see, in fact, I was talking about the elderly population in the morning, that we are going to double the elderly population, and elderly population में भी बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, चाहे वो सोशल आइसोलेशन हो, चाहे वो फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज हो, चाहे वो न्यूक्लियर फैमिली का इशू हो, चाहे वो हेल्थ इश्यूज हैं. क्योंकि ये जो elderly population more than 60-70 वाली है, they will not be all healthy. They will have a multiple problem, whether it is diabetes, hypertension, lifestyle problem. So they will be handling all these lifestyle diseases. On top of that, depression है, dementia है, they are all mental health issues. So where do you see your role and doctor's role and medical professionals' role as a general medical professional, not as a psychiatrist, to deal with a situation which you are facing today, a crisis even in the doctors itself and at large at the community level?
Thank you, Professor Dhamija, for that pertinent question. My respected panelists and the audience have already addressed. I'll be very brief. IMA, as you have pointed out, the largest doctors body in the world. It has 4 lakh members, and we are completing 100 years. Started 1926 by Bidhan Rai, and we are completing 100 years. This is very soon. Odisha has 10,000 members, and we are completing 75 years of the Odisha IMA. So we come across all specialty. By the way, I want to know how many in this hall are doctors, medical students, and related to fraternity. Please raise your hand. Yeah, many. Maybe biggest group is doctors group here. IMA study, 3 years back, IMA conducted a study in the country that how many doctors are themselves healthy, how many are unhealthy. Many of you have come across online, now also you can browse. It came 62% doctors are not healthy in the form of mental illness, in the form of metabolic disorders, in the form of cancers, heart disease, all non-communicable diseases. You know, the society is flooded with non-communicable diseases. Personally, I see 30,000 doctors with metabolic disorders, diabetes not controlled, hypertension not controlled, weight not controlled, cholesterol not controlled, not taking medicines regularly, coming very occasionally, infrequent. See, doctor होने से एक आइडिया चला आता है, we are immune to disease. Many people सोचते हैं, अरे हम तो एडवाइस करने वाले हैं, हमको क्या होगा. जैसे आईटीसी वाले हैं, कुछ खाने का क्वेश्चन उठेगा तो बोले हम तो खिलाने वाले हैं, हमारा तो खाना ऐसे ही आ जाएगा. नहीं आता है. You need time in the field, you need time in the gene, you need to restrain your greed. Check the fast food, take vegetables, fruits, run on the field, decrease your waist circumference, BMI, reach the right weight, meditate, make your mind straight, and this has to be a regular affair. You see, being in the profession, stress तो रहता है. I have written a very nice article in Odia, Rogor or Rago. People come very unhappy to us. You see, hospital is a place, clinic is a place, doctor is a point. Nobody comes happy. They मजबूरी में आते हैं. So they are not happy with us. They are not happy with our approach, our profession, our suggestion. They think that these doctors are responsible for the diseases. और जितना डिजीज बढ़ता है उनका और उनका फैमिली का इनकम बढ़ता जाता है. They think like that. So I have written, we are just trying to help you out to come over the disease. We are not the cause of the disease, but many doctors have succumbed. You know, COVID More than 1600 doctors died in the country, the IMA members I am telling, treating the patients. And during COVID, no doctor kept themselves away from the practice because they were having comorbidities, they were having disease, they were at risk of contracting the pandemic and dying. No doctor. I've seen people coming out. The pehla death jo hua tha Indore mein, he was a physician. He told, I'll see patients till last breath. Dr. K.K. Agrawal, you know, such a senior physician from Delhi, was seeing patients with a mask in his face. He's a member of IMA, advisor, physician, and then worked till last moment. He has given his service and died of COVID. He was suffering. He was with oxygen, seeing patients, and died. So this is what a medical student, a doctor, a consultant, a member of the fraternity imbibes. Our time, we treat enemies, we treat across the religion, we treat across the gender, across the caste, across the country, and everyone. So profession comes first to a doctor's mind. He never thinks of his own health, what I have seen. That's why doctors are not a healthy professional. First thing I tell. 3-4 things I'm telling you for your mental exercise beyond profession, जो आपको सोचने के लिए देगा. How society has destructed themselves. The first thing I'll tell is marriage. You see, marriage एक institution था. We have not seen the spouses whom we have to spend a life. Many senior people. Parents decide करते थे, सात फेरी होता था, and people are not thinking of getting separated in life. क्या हुआ? Live-in आ गया. Live-in. You see, who lives with whom and who leaves him or her, the total institution of marriage is damaged. Many countries have started registration of live-ins now to come across. You see, we're talking of social media in the morning with our Chief Secretary, sir. See, small boy, they're in Instagram, they're in Facebook, they're in the X, and all adult porn material are with children, adolescents, who are not mature to deal with that. The hormone is different in them, and then they get what we heard in the discussion. They get a freedom for food, for interacting. The rapes are taking place in schools. This is like a US school. I have seen US school, standard 7, compass box. The teachers check the boy has a condom or not. They have a free sex. They have a free life. But India was never like that. And it has touched India. And marriage as an institution has been collapsed. So many marriage breaks. So many families destroyed. And these non-communicable diseases have made many young couple infertile. इतना फर्टिलिटी सेंटर कहाँ था? बच्चे तो अपने आप होते रहते थे. अभी कोई भी सिटी देखो, 5-10 फर्टिलिटी सेंटर आ गया, IVF सेंटर आ गया. नया प्रॉब्लम है for the generations which we have created. See the social media. Are we handling right? No. Social media is doing cyber crime. Social media is hacking your accounts, and government is giving a continuous notice that the call you receive may not be true and by hackers. So where we are proceeding to? See the Bachpan, you heard Mr. Rajput saying. Where is that playground? The Battle of Waterloo was fought in the playfield of Eton. बच्चे कहाँ खेलते हैं? तो मोबाइल लेके बैठ जाते हैं और अपना मोबाइल में खेलते हैं. They go to Instagram, Facebook and X. The girl who doesn't have a boyfriend is depressed. I saw in the school. Because the girl doesn't have a break. The standard 6, standard 5 girl, if doesn't have a boyfriend, she is depressed. Virginity, chastity is a big question mark. And where we are proceeding? Bachpan is gone, social media has taken over, and marriages are gone. Where is the social institution? We talk of physical, mental, social, spiritual well-being. The last thing I'll tell you in this round is regarding spiritual well-being. Are we spiritual? You see, WHO when formed a definition told it's not mere absence of disease. It's physical, mental, social, spiritual well-being. What spiritual well-being we practice? We are not taught in the schools and the colleges. We are not taught in the medical practice. And in the name of religion, many fights and the violence that take place, we call us so-called secular. And where is the spiritual practice? Like if you tell your spirituality, that's a taboo in a country whose soul and body was spiritual from the origin. The soul concept is lost. So this is the high time, the illness to wellness movement, we have to get back to our original principle. We studied a lot, and the conclusion was the diet which our forefathers were taking is best. Balanced in fiber, balanced in calorie, balanced in everything. So the first food we take, ultra processed food we take, and then the juice we take, the soft drinks we take, the alcohol we take, the cocaine we take, the nicotine we take, has damaged the young mass. Late night parties, hostels, you'll be surprised, engineering hostels, medical hostels, college hostels are flooded with drugs, not only alcohol and the nicotine, drugs. You'll not believe. All my visit to the medical colleges and the engineering colleges and the general colleges, I inquire this, that how much of drug come to the hostel, from where, and how to check that. You see, completely we have collapsed morally, socially, spiritually, and where from the mental health will come? Where from the mental health will come? So, three things today, remember, I'm giving you a short formula. I'm quoting from my mentor, my guru, Sri Aurobindo, who was a freedom fighter. He has written in his small book, The Mother, aspiration, rejection, surrender. He has given just 3-word formula for your whole life. Aspiration, rejection, surrender. Aspire to be the best. Best in profession, best in family, best in society, best in honesty, best in ethics. Reject what you find wrong in you, your greed, your violence, your enviousness. So all negative qualities in you, reject. And if you aspire, reject that and surrender near the force, near the Creator for a good future. The future is yours. Happiness will come. And that is the condition. If you are not doing your duty correctly, but at the same time you ask for the divine power to help you, it will not help. How many of us think of contemplating on our own self, who we are, why we have come? Where is that knowledge of Vedanta which our Guruhood taught? Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. The sole concept was taught is your real self. Where is it? People are moving after drugs to find out the ecstasy. No nirvana, ecstasy, the kick of the drug, kick of the cocaine that we are searching today. Can we be mentally happy? Never. So let us get back to basics, to our forefathers, to the culture, to the tradition, to that era of Rama and Mahabharata, where we'll know about ourselves, we'll contemplate goodhood, we'll reconstitute our family and marriage, we'll get back our childhood, we'll get back the institution, and then only we can be mentally happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jan Panda. Thank you for highlighting the many distractions and negative things which have happened, and also you have given us solutions. So let us think in a positive way that not everything is bad. There is a positivity also, and this positivity will spread from awareness summit like this, from illness to wellness. And I hope that we will come back to the what we used to be there centuries ago, and that is something which we all imbibe, that positivity, and work towards that, attaining that positivity. So now I'll move to Professor Bhaputra Panda, Professor of Public Health at KIIT, deemed to be University of Bhubaneswar. Sir, you are a public health professional, and India has given so much of mental public health professions also, like Dr. Vikram Patel in Harvard, and he has written a book where there is no doctor and there is no psychiatrist. So obviously, at the grassroots level, community level, when we are facing such a shortage of mental health professionals, we require 30,000 psychiatrists, we have only 9,000. We require 1 lakh clinical psychologists, we have only 3,000. We require so many of psychiatric nurses, we don't have more than 1,000 psychiatric nurses. So given this scarcity of mental health professionals, what are the interventions which can be done at the community level? What are the government policies which can be implemented at the level of the public health level of the community, which can help us to promote mental health, increase the mental health literacy, identify the people with red flags of having a severe mental disorders, and then proper management and proper direction to these individuals? Good.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Professor Dhanijaji, all the co-panelists on the dais, off the dais, scientists, academicians, researchers, students, and media people from the media houses. So, very good afternoon to all of you. I'm not going to touch on the problem. The problem has already been discussed by several scientists, co-panelists, and even during the inaugural session also. Our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Chief Secretary, and other panelists spoke about the problem. Since this is an awareness summit, so I just want to highlight on a couple of issues before I try and address and give the solution. When you talk about mental health, actually the modern understanding slowly emerging, which is concluding, is that the modern days or westernized thinking about mental health has its origin in the scriptural discussions going back to the Bhagavad Gita days. The important discourses between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, they reflect on most of the dimensions of mental health in different chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So from that point of view, what we are discussing today is nothing new. It was there then, it is existing even today. The only difference is in terms of the quantum of the problems that we are facing. In those days, the problems were limited to certain segments of the society, but today we are talking about a prevalence rate of about say 10 to 12%, 15%. Some of the recent research studies are indicating that anxiety, depression, and cognitive disorders are existing in the society to the tune of 10 to 15, 20, 30, 40%. One of my own studies in 2019 in a small town in Berhampur city in Odisha has revealed the prevalence of anxiety, depression, and cognitive disorders to the tune of 55% amongst elderly population above 60 years of age. And of course, we know by now that adolescents have their own problem sets. Young adults have their own set of problems. Newly married couples have their own problems. Couples without children have their own problems. Students have their problems. Teachers have problems. Professors have problems. People at work have their problems. People who are daily laborers, drivers, they have their problems. So problems are everywhere. We can't, you have to live with the problems. Therefore, the major issue is, was it not there then? It was there. The difference is our attitude towards life, our responses to deal with those problems have changed over a period of time. As the Chief Secretary was telling the other time, in the morning hub, our food practices have changed, our evolutionary changes have not moved at sync with the technological transformations that we have today. Our bodily evolution takes centuries to adapt with the technological transformations. But the technological transformations have done in last 20 years. So therefore, our food practices, dietary practices have transformed completely in last 2 decades after globalization. Now the entire globe is a small village where people are being connected with New Jersey. Sitting here, you know what is being done there. So therefore, the limited point that I am trying to in the discourses related to mental health, and from the public health point of view, the mental health discourses, we talk about 2 or 3 important issues at our hand. One, demedicalize mental health. Mental health is not to be addressed by psychiatrists. Mental health is a spectrum of display of behaviors which are ranging from simple psychological disorders to moderately severe mental problems to severe mental diseases. Therefore, you can't deal with these three types of disorders through the same lens. They will have to be dealt with differently. And it has to be dealt with at the individual level, family level, community level, public health institutional level, and government policy level. These are the 5 levels at which you have to deal with this problem. And you know, I mean, taking the cues now in this hall, I can expect around 20 to 30 people will have mental health problems. If you have a prevalence of say around 10 to 12%, given that in this hall there are 300 people, definitely there will be 20, 30 people who will have small or mild or moderate psychological disorders. I mean, more than that, exactly. So therefore, and it is also a fact that through our life, each one of will definitely experience an episode of mental health problem. Therefore, there is nothing that you should be scared about, rather you should be prepared to deal with it effectively at the individual level. At the family level, as Dr. Panda mentioned, how marriage as an institution has been stuttered, families have been destroyed, nuclearization taken place already, joint family, that shock absorbing is gone. The family has now completely been isolated from the rest of the world. You are talking about aspiration explosion at the individual level. Parents are pressurizing their children to perform better, to become the topper. You can't expect a Sachin Tendulkar to become a singer or a Lata Mangeshkar to be a cricket player. This is the famous dialogue in this movie 3 Idiots. Therefore, you have to also understand that each one of us have separate traits, strengths and weaknesses. You can't judge everybody through the same lens. You can't expect every child to perform and become the topper. There will be only one topper in the class. So therefore, dealing with aspiration explosion at the individual level, dealing with societal issues at the community level, and dealing with these issues of mental health disorders at the community by the public health, what is called practices, by public health policies. I was very happy that in the morning, Madam Parida Madam actually spoke very well about her intentions to do something great in Odisha with respect to mental health, which has been historically neglected. Dr. Vikram Patel obviously is a great psychiatrist and also a great public health specialist who has spoken about the public health dimensions of mental health. But other than this, at the village level, at the community level, and at the societal level, the government's policies must be introduced in sync with the social realities today. The educational curriculum at the school level, at the medical college level, at the college level, general college level, must also include some of the very key components of mental health issues. These life-saving skills must be taught to children. I mean, what is it that is the difference between the Gurukul days and today's modern education days? The Gurukul days, a student will be definitely reaching out to a mentor or a guru with respect to each and every problem of his or her. But today that is not the case. Today the relationship between a teacher and a student has completely been transformed, changed. A student is no more interested to reach out to the teacher with respect to his or her personal or family issues. So the trust establishment between the teacher and the student, and the curriculum which must be in sync with the social realities, and the governmental policies in terms of producing sufficient psychiatrists, psychologists, public health professionals, community workers, change agents at the grassroots level, ranging from grassroots level to top-notch medical colleges, are also equally important. Therefore, I would say that for a state like Odisha, where you have such a prevalence of, I mean, obviously it is better off as compared to a place like Mumbai or Delhi or Hyderabad or Bangalore, where the work-related stress is even more. Therefore, the possibilities of a high prevalence of mental disorders in those areas are definitely more than in Odisha. Odisha is better off. Even when government is thinking about it, we must have a big round of applause for that. And government is seriously talking about the need for establishing institutions, institutionalizing the arrangements which are aimed at offering the basic comprehensive primary healthcare services to the population at large, and screening, identifying cases at risk, offering primordial prevention, offering primary prevention at the community level, and also offering specialized care through the continuum of care approach, starting from village to the medical college, are definitely going to be on the top of the agenda. And I hope and I'm very sure about it that all the technocrats that we have, the bureaucracy we have, and the dynamic leadership that we have at this disposal, they will bring in the churn and then bring in the best practices from Odisha and across the globe to establish institutionalized mechanisms to deal with these public health problems at the societal level. These are my introductory remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I will just summarize the various inputs and various insights from the panelists before I take questions from the audience. 3 or 4 questions we would like to take because we have a distinguished panel of experts in front of you. But I would give you 3 or 4 or 5 takeaways which you must write it down if you have a pen and paper. So first thing is the diet and nutrition. So we always tell for your brain health and for your mental health, take at least 5 servings of fruits and salads of different colors, multiple colors. So plant-based diet, 5 to 6 servings every day, whether it is salad, whether it is fruits, whether it is pre-lunch or lunch or post-lunch. So 5 to 6 servings of different colors, whether it apple is red, the banana is yellow, the grapes are green. All these colors, they should be different colors. And colorful plant-based diet is a must for your good brain health and good mental health. So that is the nutritious part of this. The second part is the physical exercise. So walking is now new medicine. Sitting is a new smoking. So these 2 lines you must remember, that 30 minutes of brisk walking every day, at least for 5 days a week, is a recommendation, global recommendation for every one of us, whether we have a lifestyle disease like diabetes, hypertension, or normal. 30 minutes brisk walking alone can help you to increase your life by 10 years. So brisk walking, whether you do aerobics, is very good. If you can do yoga, it's very good. In fact, yoga is our cultural heritage. I can tell you from my own experience, which I did a randomized controlled trial of mindfulness, meditation and yoga in COVID-19. In my own hospitals, we had this, during the peak of the COVID, we had 250 medical professionals who were looking after the COVID patients. So we divided into 2 groups. One group, they were all directly looking after the patient and exposed to the COVID-19 virus. So one group was undergoing 12 weeks of meditation, yoga and mindfulness. The other group, 125 medical professionals, were undergoing normal physical exercise. At the end of the 12 weeks, actually we did 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, COVID-19 titers and infections. 10, out of 125 who were doing normal exercise, 10 doctors developed COVID-19. On the other hand, 125 doctors who were doing meditation, yoga, mindfulness, only 1 doctor developed the COVID-19. So that is 9-to-1 ratio. It means at that time there was no COVID-19 vaccine. So that means the meditation, yoga and mindfulness is like a vaccine, like increases your immunity, increasing your resistance, everyday resistance up to the lifestyle roadblocks and adverse situations. So these yoga and mindfulness are very, very good for your positivity, for your mental health. So third is your, in addition to diet and physical exercise, is your cognitive fitness. Like your physical fitness, there is a brain fitness, mind fitness, where you can increase your cognitive fitness by, say, learning a new language, having a positive relations with your family, friends, social connections, increasing your vocabulary, challenging your brain cells, like doing Sudoku and doing crosswords. That means you are challenging your brain cells, become active, and they are very, very in a good brain healthy shape. So cognitive fitness is equally important as a physical fitness. I believe, I am a neurologist, so I tell cognitive fitness is even more important than the physical fitness. The fourth is the sleep. 6 to 8 hours of a refreshing sleep. It's not only the quantity of sleep, but quality of sleep. A good quality, refreshing 6 to 8 hours sleep, regular timing 10 to 7 or 10 to 6 is very, very important. The bedroom is only for sleeping, not for eating, not for TV, not for laptop, not for iPad, not for mobile. So obviously bedroom is only for sleeping. Keep all these distractions away. No tea or no coffee or no stimulants after 3 hours before you sleep, or say 7 after 7 p.m. so that you can have a good quality refreshing sleep. During the sleep, our brain is clearing the toxins, whatever they have accumulated during the daytime. What happens in the malls? You go to the malls close at 11 o'clock. From 11 to 6 in the morning, there is a cleaning taking place. So whole kachra which has happened, which has accumulated during the daytime by the human traffic in the malls is cleared in the night. So similarly in the brain also, all this kachra which has happened during the daytime is cleared by our glial cells in the brain during the sleep. When we are sleeping, that is something we are recharging our battery. So you are recharging your battery by a good quality refreshing sleep. So these are some of the 4 or 5 takeaway. Of course, the other things are very, very important. You are reducing your stress level. How do you manage that? Improving your brain resilience, improving your resistance to the life's obstructions. That is very important. And if you have a lifestyle disease like diabetes, hypertension, you have to keep in check. You have to check your cholesterol. You have to have regular annual health checkups after the age of 45. So these are very, very important. So no alcohol, cut down. Even if you are taking alcohol, reduce it, cut down to 0, and then no smoking. So if these are 7, 8 life principles of a positive mental health and a mental wellness, these things will be very, very important. And you don't need a psychiatrist, you don't need a doctor for that, you don't need a clinical psychologist. They are very simple things which can be adopted in everyday's life. So all of you should take note of this, and that is something from this panel which is very useful to you. Now I'll just take few questions from the audience because we have a distinguished panel and we have few minutes also. So let us have any queries, any comments, any questions, anything from the audience to share amongst the audience or with us. We are happy to take those questions. Yeah, please. Mike.
To introduce myself, I am Dr. A.K. Chaudhary from Cuttack. Well, I am in the education of the medical college. As a doctor, I think most of the audience are doctors or young doctors in the first year or second year of MBBS. In fact, I like Professor Shwai has commented rightly that for all the physical diseases, we have a protocol and SOP and a diagnostic criteria also, major or minor, whatever. But for the mental disease, still we have not formed either in the national or international. Even I was a WHO fellow. I searched for the mental illness that time in Delhi also. I didn't find a protocol for that. That which disease, how to be diagnosed and how the management has to be undertaken. I think that is one point. Second is, every individual have his capacity of taking stress. But how to diagnose the stress and how you have to de-stress it and what is the right mechanism, that has not been developed also. That is another question I have to put on. I am basically a plastic surgeon. I was in charge of the state nodal officer for trauma and burns. Even few days back, one of the very important institution, Center for Excellence, a senior faculty also, they go for committing suicide, and mostly in burns. The burns we find suicidal cases. So the question is, what is the level of intelligence, and especially what Dr. Panda has told, most of our family situations what is arising of. We previously, our parents were giving us sanskar, what we call in family.
Values, yes.
That sanskar is lacking now, and everybody is depending on one of the important vitamins from childhood to even old age, that is vitamin M, what I mean to money. So money is the nucleus of attraction of many things, and that is one of the causes for the mental illness. So everybody became ambitious, everybody wants to have money, and money gives you the physical and mental pleasure also, as I feel. But it is not a fact that mental peace comes from money. Even Mr. Ambani must not be having that much of peace of mind, because every night at 12 o'clock he talks that I want only 1 rupee more than the last day for my profit. 1 rupee for him, you understand how much will the quantity. So money is the factor. All the young generation of doctors from first year, second year are there. They are thinking I have to check a subject. I asked few of the MBBS students, what subject you want to do postgraduate? Sir, I will do in radiology, I will do in skin BD. Because in our time, 80s, we never been interested on these subjects. Why you are interested? No, sir, I get lot of money for that.
Thank you.
So why I comment on all this, most of the illness what we have discussed here is most in urban areas. But they are still in villages where India is more populated in 60%. Still they maintain that sanskar. Still they don't have the mental illness much as in comparison to urban areas. So all these things boils down to we should have a protocol and diagnostic aid for having the mental illness. What you told, 40%, 50% people must be having some illness which is not been diagnosed, and right treatment has not been given at right time by right person to right people. So I think that is what is needed.
Well, thank you, Dr. Chaudhary, for these insights. Let me take one question at a time. So your question of not having SOPs or protocols, I think that's not the exactly situation. We do have the DSM criteria, we do have the criteria for major depression, we do have the criteria for diagnosing and the protocols for management, but mostly limited to the psychiatrists for their professional acumen. So the other way of doing it, we need to train the primary healthcare physicians or physicians regarding this, so that the knowledge spreads and the doctors are also aware of DSM criteria and the diagnostic criteria and management protocols and SOPs. But let me tell you very clearly, the ICMR and the Government of India Niti Aayog has trained thousands, lakhs of community health officers, CHOs, about the MNS package. Each Ayushman Arogya Mandir has a MNS package, that is mental health, neurological disorders and substance abuse. That package number 12, I can tell you, vertical number 12, has a training modules of 4 days which identify the red flags of all the people who are coming to the Ayushman Arogya Mandir to a community health officer or a medical officer, so that he can identify that such and such individual has a severe mental illness or a suicidal tendency or at risk of harming himself or harming the society. That individual can be picked up and referred appropriately to the psychiatrist at the district level or at whatever in the private setup. So there are protocols and there are SOPs in place, but we need to intensify, we need to further train other doctors and other CHOs also, so that they can be implemented and integrated with the primary care. So integrated models are coming up, and many of the countries have adopted that integrated model. So the other, the question of your values and sanskars and other things, of course, we have the materialistic society now. Many of the countries, they are far more materialistic than us. We still have that family system imbibed in us, but that is disintegrating very fast. So we need to work on that. And of course, all of this, objective of this illness to wellness awareness summit is to create awareness. Jan Bhagidari, Jagrukta Abhiyan. So we have to do this, and it's a partnership of the all stakeholders, not only the psychiatrists or doctors or neurologists or leaders in the medical fraternity, but all of us should join hand and come together to create awareness. I was very happy to hear Honorable Deputy CM Madam saying that she wants to do something which is a leadership role for Odisha. Odisha can be an example for other states in taking lead in creating awareness, mental health programs and mental health week, and she is very passionate about it, and things like that will work will result in a very fruitful result. Madam.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Pratima Soy, a professor of biochemistry. Actually, we have discussed a lot where we stand now. Now I want to know what programs or projects are going on to supplement or to raise us or climb to the new level we are intending. Dr. Ansuman may also reply to this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Before coming to your question, first actually let me start where it should start. As we have already discussed that it should start at the individual level. Recognizing the need. I mean recognizing the symptom, whether something is disturbing myself. Recognizing that is first important. After that actually what usually one should do. the internal coping strategies you have to adopt. Maybe emotion focused, maybe avoidant, maybe problem focused. Some coping strategies actually you try to adopt to address that issue, that mental health problem. Then you have to reach out to your trusted individuals, the family members, the friends, relatives. After that, you should actually reach out to the mental health professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors. They may help. So why I am saying this, again, actually one should be aware of himself or herself. So self-awareness. Self-awareness is very important. One should, I mean, this is a kind of conscious knowledge of one's thoughts, emotions, desires, character. First, I should know who am I. I mean, whether my character, actually, I should know about my character, my desire, my thoughts. Then only I can actually recognize whether something is disturbing me or not. Once I will recognize it, and for that again, the intervention is here, is the awareness campaigns, like we are doing here. The awareness, the education campaigns, that has to be done. So again, everybody has to keep in their mind that seeking help, seeking professional help or seeking help from anyone, from your family members, from your relatives, your friends, it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. First one has to, I mean, you fix in your mind that this is a sign of strength. If you want to seek help from anyone, maybe a doctor, maybe counselor, maybe a community health worker. So first you have to understand that this is a sign of strength. Then only you can proceed ahead. Then you make your mental health safety plan and all these things. So,
Click, lead.
okay. So, coming to your question, ma'am, please repeat.
And actually, I wanted to know in the programs. This is individual level. One who is mentally disturbed, he cannot judge himself. That is one. Like Asha Didis, they are doing for OG gynec cases and they are moving family to family. Do you have any program for counseling all these persons?
Yes.
I want.
So here coming to the research part, again coming to the implementation research part, there are mental health programs. There are actually the workplace intervention, suppose mental health intervention programs are there at workplaces, at educational institutes. But the thing is that again, whether that is working properly or not, we have to know that. Yes, actually for that again we have to test whether the lay counselors like peers, the teachers, the community volunteers, can they be trained effectively? Can it be feasible? I mean, can they be trained effectively to address or to deliver brief interventions for these things?
Is there any such program? I mean that.
Yes. So programs are there. All important
I'll-
components are there.
I'll just explain the National Mental Health Program. Since 1980 is running very successfully. It's called District Mental Health Program. Now it has a digital arm also. So in that program there are different component of that, including the Center of Excellence program which you have. IMH has a Center of Excellence. There is a manpower development scheme A, scheme B. There is a upgradation of medical colleges, Department of Psychiatry in the medical colleges. So there are national programs, and I want to ask all of you to note down one number. 2 years back, the Government of India has started a Telemanas program. Telemanas is a national psychiatric or mental health helpline 24/7. Number is 14416. 14416 is a number you should always remember by heart. This is a 3-tier program. So one is that you call the number, for example in Odisha, the Odisha center will take up that call in vernacular language, in local language, or in Hindi or in English. The counselors are there 24/7. They take up the call. They try to address the situation. If there is a crisis, there is a mental health issue, they will try to counsel, they will try to address that. In case the counselor feels that this is a severe problem, this is a serious problem, the same call in the real time is transferred to a psychiatrist on call or psychiatrist on duty. So you get to talk to the psychiatrist in the real time by calling 14416 in case it is required. And even after talking to psychiatrist, if the psychiatrist feels that this person has got a suicidal ideation, suicidal tendency, suicidal plans, or a risk to himself or a risk to others, or a severe mental disorder, the same patient in the real time is brought to the district hospital where a psychiatrist is there, or a medical college, or a tertiary care institute like IBHAS or NIMHANS or IMS in Odisha. So this 14416 is a community-based national program, national telephone. This is called digital arm of NMHP or DMHP. And more than 20 lakhs people have called in last 2 years. 20 lakhs people. In my center, which I run in IBHAS, more than 50,000 people have called in last 2 years. So it shows that people are becoming aware. People are demanding now. There is a need, but there was no demand. Everybody thinks that there is a need. होना चाहिए, लोगों को पूछना चाहिए, लोगों को आगे आना चाहिए. But people are not coming. People were not coming. But giving a 24/7 confidential helpline without revealing an identity, anonymize total, that the confidentiality is maintained. Even the counselor does not know the telephone number. It is from the Triple IT Bangalore where the data is there, who has called, when was that call made, and what is happening. So these programs are there, and they are very successful. And this is running in 53 centers in India, including Odisha, including Delhi. Some of the states have 4 or 5 centers like Uttar Pradesh. Some of the centers have only one, like Goa, Jammu, Kashmir, Delhi. So obviously there are programs in place, but let us all take advantage of that program, which is running in Ayushman Arogya Mandirs, district hospitals, psychiatric mental health hospitals, mental health institutions. They are all there. But only thing is we need to create awareness. Awareness means people should know. I don't know, any of you know that 14416 is a number which is readily available. Anybody can call anytime, 24/7, and he can take the professional help. So nobody knows that, because we are lacking in communicating to the people that how they can approach us, how they can take the help. So that is where gaps are there, and that gap is being filled by a summit like this, which is called Awareness Summit, and something which we need to be carry forward and take it forward. Not only one incident, and it has to be momentum, it has to be continuum. That is something which is required.
Thank
I think,
you, sir.
sir,
I
just
think,
want to add one little more to madam, then you can come in, sir. Madam, you are asking about the programs, no? Because actually for governments, I think there are 3 important priority tasks. One is to identify high-risk cases from the community, screen them out, flag them out, and figure them out. Second is offer them services, and third is follow them up. So with respect to these 3 types of services, government has actually already established different layers of programs in place. For example, identification of people through screening at the community level. Right now, as sir pointed out, the health and wellness centers, there are trained community health officers who have been trained how to identify, because normally a psychologically disordered person will never identify himself. Somebody has to identify, no? Whether you are having too much of irritation, having some mental aberration, some psychological disorder, some deviation of thoughts, other things. Family may reflect and suspect, but identification has to be done through trained people, and now Government of India has invested sufficient money and resources for that. Second thing, once you have identified, what need to be done? As I told you, it is a spectrum. Simple mere psychological disorder like irritation is not equivalent to suicidal disorder. They are different things. They will have to be dealt with differently. So therefore, in countries like Europe and US, all the Western economies, the dependence on clinical psychologists is more than on psychiatrists. A psychiatrist's work will come only when there is a severely mental disorder or mental disease case comes to place. But that is only about, say, 1/10 of the total mental problems. The rest 90% are to be dealt with by the clinical psychologists. So that is what I am trying to tell.
Thank you.
And there is a layer of people in place. Yeah.
Very briefly, because we are running short.
I know that. I'll be very, very brief and very short time, few points only. I know that all are going to this low sugar now. So my point is, I am Dr. P.K. Smai. So I got retirement many years back, some 21 years back. I was working in a capital hospital. So my point is, as you mentioned, that there are district mental health centers have been formed. But why not there is some training arrangement in the school level and high school level, college level, in engineering college level and medical college level? So I remember when we were medical students, one teacher from Ravenshaw College, he used to come teach us, taught us psychology. 4 classes in a month and the course is over. So we knew nothing about this mind or mental illness, because the mind itself is very, very difficult to grasp.
Thank you.
As you know, the mind itself evolved some 3 lakh years back. Till now we know nothing about mind.
Sir.
So,
Sir.
my point is there should be some training center at school levels,
Yeah.
college levels.
Sir, I am answering your question. I am just mixing your question with Professor Pratima Madam's question. One thing, first I am clarifying about our state. What the question you have asked, actually Madam asked the question. The concern is, as far as mental health is concerned, how we will go to the individual level. What is the plan of the country? How we will go to the family level? That is our target. So in the individual level, one thing our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister has already pointed out, stigma is there. To alleviate the stigma, in India, now there are around 33 centers, as Sir has already mentioned, telemanagement center. Because if somebody has mental illness and we will do a survey from house to house, the person will not tell that I have some mental illness or mental distress, because stigma is there. So just I am finishing, then you will tell. So we have to go to the individual level. In the secondary level, then coming to the from family, we will come to the school. There are school mental health programs. So in the school mental health, in our center, we have already trained the school teachers regarding life skill education. Most of the teachers in the school are already trained. And Sir has mentioned, in the CHO level, that means in Arogya Mandir, we are training the CHOs. And all those persons, those who are suffering from mental illness, they are consulting the psychiatrist. So it is not a easy thing to alleviate all mental illness or mental illness to illness within a span of such time, such small time, because India has around 1.4 billion people. But we are on the process. So it is going on. And we have a center of excellence for mental health training, and it is running. We have already trained all doctors. So it is there. Not that we are not doing. Okay. That is still in the way.
Thank you.
There are about 30 or 40, I understand, there are 40 or more than that, physical education training center in our state. But there is not a mental health training center, there is not a single one. So why not we do that in
Our center is the training center, center of excellence.
Similar importance, 40, 50 center need. So before you develop some mental diseases, you want
No, I think the roadmap is very clear. The government is doing very well. That is why the Deputy CM has given this. And I think I'll just conclude by thanking my panelists, Professor Dr. Swan, Dr. Jayant Panda, Dr. Baputra Panda, Dr. Devashish Biswas, and Dr. Anshuman Panigiri for their useful and very, very important insights. At the same time, I also express my gratitude to the organizers, the Illness to Wellness Foundation, which has organized such a wonderful program, and so many people are there. And of course, we had this morning Honorable Deputy CM, the Chief Secretary, and dignitaries. And the last but not the least, I also want to express my thanks to Sandeep ji, Ashish ji, all of their team, and they deserve a big hand for organizing this. Please give them a big hand to Sandeep, Ashish, and full of his team. And thank you for all of you for patience listening and giving your insights. Thank you, and we conclude this session.
Finally, thanks to all the panelists. They have did the most fantastic work on mind, the most difficult topic.
We will just take 5 more minutes for mementos and felicitations. Quickly requesting Mr. Ashish Paul and Mr. Sandeep Jain sir to please join us upon stage for doing the honors. And I would begin the felicitation ceremony for Professor Dr. Sarada Prasanna Swai, Director MHI, COE, SCB, MC, and HOD Psychiatry, SCB Medical College, Cuttack. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing the panel with your warm presence. The next felicitation is for Professor Bhuputra Panda, Professor of Public Health, KEET deemed to be University, Bhubaneswar. The next felicitation is for Mr. Debashish Vishwal, Director, National Health Association of Mental Health, and a lead health foundation, which is Nama Foundation. And now for Dr. Anshuman Panigrahi, Scientist, E Regional Medical Research Center, Bhubaneswar, ICMR. Thanking all our panelists, the ones who have been so patient with us. I request you all to kindly pose for the camera. We would like to capture this beautiful memory with all of you. I believe it was definitely a very, very productive day for each one of us. Thank you so much, all the students, other members of the fraternity, for taking out time and marking this day, gracing your presence. And time to capture the memory. Let's say cheese for the camera. What a beautiful frame it looks. Thank you so much. A big hand, everybody, to illness to wellness. Thank you so much. You may please proceed for your lunch.